Now the Sooners are taking flight on quarterback Cale Gundy's right arm. The Sooners blitzkrieg score from anywhere offense strikes fear in the hearts of opponents and has Oklahoma fans dreaming of the glory days of yesteryear. For the Texas Tech Red Raiders, it has been a tale of two seasons. A 1-5 nightmare became a 6-5 bowl season thanks to a battering ram named Bam. Byron Bam Morris chooses the path of least resistance through defenders to the end zone. It's Oklahoma versus Texas Tech, the John Hancock Bowl on CBS Sports. It's a glorious Christmas Eve in El Paso, Texas, as we welcome you to the John Hancock Bowl. And this could be a high-octane offensive show today, featuring the Texas Tech Red Raiders of the Southwest Conference and the Oklahoma Sooners of the Big Eight. Merry Christmas and season's greetings from all of us, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. Texas Tech is no stranger to this particular bowl game, and Oklahoma certainly is no stranger to any bowl game, considering their rich football tradition. I'm joined by Randy Cross, and Oklahoma comes in 8-3 on the year, and they put a tremendous scare into undefeated Nebraska. We know about Cale Gundy and his passing ability, but there are two freshman tailbacks led by James Allen, also big threats for the Sooners.
Well, when you talk about the Sooners, you talk about balance. 194 yards a game passing, 192 yards a game on the ground. But really the key for the Sooners, Gary Gibbs says, are the two freshman running backs. You've got to get the balance off the ground. That sets up the play action. That sets up the Sooners. If there's a mismatch today as far as groups goes, it's the defensive front seven of the Oklahoma Sooners against the offensive line of Texas Tech.
And that's where Texas Tech really has to make hay today. A tremendous turnaround year, winning 5 in a row. They have one of the more explosive offenses in the country, averaging 45 points a game. And the key man, of course, is Bam Morris, who has been honored as the top running back in the country, but he is not a one-man gang.
Not at all, Dick. I mean, they call it the Bam and Shoot. And in the Bam and Shoot, you've got Morris. You've got Hill, the all-time Southwest Conference leader in receiving yards. The key man, the quarterback, Robert Hall. As in any kind of run-and-shoot type game, look for the Oklahoma defense to come after the quarterback. Get the head, the body dies.
Potentially a high-scoring game today in the 60th John Hancock Bowl on a beautiful day in El Paso. Coming up, Texas Tech and Oklahoma. Back here at Sun Bowl Stadium in El Paso, Texas, and we have very close to a capacity crowd out here of 52,000, and here come the Texas Tech Red Raiders. First bowl game in 4 years for Texas Tech, riding a 5-game winning streak, and their head coach Spike Dykes. And here is Gary Gibbs leading the Oklahoma Sooners, only their second bowl game in the past 5 years. And here come the red-shirted Sooners onto the field here in El Paso.
The Sooners are
Coach Gary Gibbs, who played and was an assistant coach at Norman, looking to see if the Sooners can finish on a high note and win their 9th game of the season. They won their first 5 this year. And we'll be back for the kickoff for today's Texas Tech-Oklahoma battle in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents the 1993 John Hancock Bowl, the Texas Tech Red Raiders versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Today's game is sponsored by John Hancock Financial Services, the new 1994 Chevy Camaro, Bear Select Cold and Flu products, and by the Remington Triple Foil Shaver.
Well, last year we had overcast and rainy skies here at Sun Bowl Stadium for the John Hancock Bowl, and I'm sure it pleases the third member of our team to have clear skies today. Right now, let's go down to Pat O'Brien.
Indeed, Dick. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, everybody. You might say that nobody loves Texas more than Oklahoma during the course of this college football season. Take a look at these scores. Texas had their way. Oklahoma had their way with 3 Texas teams: TCU, Texas A&M. Look at that score. And Texas. And so to commemorate this, they made a T-shirt that says Texas State Champions. Oklahoma players wearing them around town this weekend, but Texas Tech has other ideas to prove today that they are the lone star of this state. Let's go back up deep in the heart of the press box and Dick and Randy.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. 38 degrees and the wind chill 31. Not much of a wind, and it's sunny and cold, but you can't ask for anything more here looking at the beautiful Franklin Mountains in the background.
Well, the Sooners specifically have to be real happy with this weather. The miserable conditions they played against Nebraska. I mean, about 20 below with the wind chill, and the passing game was nullified. And Gary Gibbs looks at this kind of conditions weather-wise, gives Cale Gundy a great opportunity off the play action to get his passing game going early, which also sets up the Texas Tech side with that bam and shoot.
This is only the second meeting between the teams. They opened last year with Oklahoma winning in Lubbock 34-9, and Cale Gundy had a big game. Byron Morris, by the way, his first career 100-yard game, but this won't be the last because Texas Tech and Oklahoma have agreed to be playing a series of games in the next few years.
And down the road and through the next couple of years, the key will be the defense of Texas Tech coming up against Oklahoma, much like today. This Tech defense is going to have to take chances. They're going to have to blitz Cale Gundy.
Texas Tech will receive. They have won the toss, and talking with Spike Dykes, we asked him what he felt the keys were to beating a favorite Oklahoma team and winning this bowl game.
Well, I'll tell you, we've got number one, we can't turn the ball over. Number two, we've got to eliminate the big play. And number three, we've got to play a 60-minute ball game. We can't afford to get too high or too low, whatever happens. It's a game of 60 minutes, and we've been on sort of an emotional roller coaster this year, and I think it's going to be very important to our football team that we play the complete game.
Goes Southwest Conference Coach of the Year with R.C. Slocum of Texas A&M, Spike Dykes in his 7th year at Lubbock. And we're getting set for the kickoff. Texas Tech will receive.
You can't really say enough about the job Spike Dykes and his staff have done after getting off that 1-5 start. I mean, to keep guys from going in the tank, much less coming back and pulling a winning season out of this, has really been amazing.
Scott Blandon will kick off for Oklahoma. Matt DeBuck and Medrick McHenry are back deep. DeBuck is on the right. And we're underway for the John Hancock Bowl on Christmas Eve. And the kick sails into the end zone. And it'll be down there by McHenry for a touchback. And the Red Raiders will begin from the 20. So you mentioned Robert Hall, one of the top quarterbacks all time in the Southwest Conference, the senior from Dallas, Texas. The running backs, Bam Morris, and the fullback, Bruce Hill. He is a senior. The wide receivers, Lloyd Hill, he's a senior, and the top receiver in the Southwest Conference this year, Darrell Mitchell, is the other wideout, and we'll see plenty more. Scott Ayler is the tight end. The center is Brad Elam. And the rest of the offensive line, Scott Fitzgerald and Peter Allen, are the guards for Texas Tech. And Stacy Patrick, who may be their best up front, along with Jeff Wood. 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line. Texas Tech operates out of the offset eye, but they open up with 4 wide receivers, and they fake. And here is Hall throwing on 1st down, and the pass is incomplete. So the first play of the game is not to Bam Morris, but a pass attempt from Hall. There is the Oklahoma defense. The nose guard is Ricky Wren. He is a senior. Russell Allen and Cedric Jones up front are the defensive ends. The outside linebackers, Mike Coates and Terrell Peters, who's starting in place of Aubrey Beavers, who will see action. Paul Oates and Brent DeQuazy also in action as well. It's the Oklahoma 5-2 defense. 2nd down and 10 on the 20-yard line. Donald Marshall was the intended receiver, and here's a handoff to Bam Morris, and Oklahoma is right there, and they stack him up. And a loss of 3 yards on that play, and there is Mike Coates, who's really the one to watch. Paul Oates also involved in the defense for Oklahoma. The cornerbacks, Darius Johnson, he's the best cover man, and William Shankle. Larry Bush is the free safety, and John Anderson, the strong safety for the Sooners. It'll be 3rd down and 13.
And we'll see both teams going out of either no huddle or sort of a short huddle, as Tech is doing here, just barely off the line of scrimmage. Both teams want to get the ball rolling, want to get momentum, especially from the Tech standpoint. They'd be happy getting 80 plays a game, snapping the ball at about 18 seconds. Conserving time is not a priority at Texas Tech.
3 wide receivers line up to the right. It'll be 3rd and 13 from the 17. And here is Hall's pass. It's dropped. It was intended for Lloyd Hill, who, by the way, is coming off of arthroscopic knee surgery late in November, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Sort of a shaky start for Hall coming out here the first series. Throws 2 passes a little too tall for Hill. Bad position to put the wide receiver in when he has to go that high, knowing he's going to get low bridge as soon as he catches it.
Robert King, who had a slow start but wound up with nearly a 43-yard average, will be kicking. Darius Johnson, the top returner back deep for Oklahoma, on the 45-yard line, gets into Texas Tech territory, and Oklahoma will have terrific field position. Following that 18-yard return of the punt, it was Sean Banks who made the tackle for Texas Tech. So the Oklahoma offense, Cale Gundy is the quarterback. We talked about him. James Allen, the freshman, and Dwayne Chandler starting in place of the injured Terry Collier at fullback. Albert Hall and Corey Warren are the 2 wide receivers. And the leading receiver for Oklahoma is their tight end, Ricky Brady. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 37 of Texas Tech. And the pitch goes to James Allen. He broke 1 tackle and is stopped at the 35-yard line for a gain of 3 yards that time. Offensive line up front, Chuck Langston. He's been ill with the flu the last couple of days. Joe Carollo, whose dad played in the NFL, and Milton Overton are the Sooner guards. J.R. Conrad and Harry Stamps Jr. huge tackles up front for Oklahoma. 2nd down and 8 on the 35. Play fake, and Gundy is going deep, and the pass is caught. Corey Warren makes the catch inside the 2-yard line. Verone McKinley defending on the play, and Oklahoma knocking at Texas Tech's door. Gain of 33.
And Cale Gundy shows you right here the way for a college quarterback to fake on play action. Watch him hide the ball, put it on his hip, turns away from the defenders, and when he does, he has just got a situation where he throws it up and says, hey, go get the ball, and Corey Warren does it.
So it'll be 1st and goal at the 2, and Cale Gundy now with a full house backfield. And the first back through is Dwayne Chandler in for the touchdown. It didn't take long for the Sooners, and they lead it 6-0.
It was a size advantage up front for that Sooner offensive line. And they took advantage of it there out of the full house. Just watch the red jerseys move through the white jerseys. An option play. Taking the first option is a good idea, especially when you're getting the blocking up front from specifically Milt Overton and Harry Stamps, both crushing their guys.
Here is Scott Landon, and his extra point is good. So Scott Landon, who was perfect this year, now with 42 consecutive extra points, and Oklahoma jumps in front of Texas Tech 7-0. Oklahoma scoring 1 minute and 40 seconds into the 60th John Hancock Bowl. They had great field position, Randy, starting on the Tech 37.
And Cale Gundy caught Tech taking a chance, man defense on the outside on his wide receivers, and a fine pass that Corey Warren just climbed up and went after.
McHenry's on the left, DeBuck on the right, and Scott Blanton kicking off as the wind blows the ball off of the tee. Scott Blanton, who is the first Oklahoma kicker to handle both punts and place kicks in 11 years, and he's done a pretty good job of it.
When I think kicker at Oklahoma, though, Dick, I still think of Uwe von Schaman.
He was a great one. Kick heading over toward the 1-yard line. Matt DeBuck returning, and he is clobbered inside the 10-yard line. Great coverage downfield, and Oklahoma coming out fired up. That was Keith Sparks who put the big hit on Matt DeBuck.
One more time, look at 2 things. Double team coming down, lead block by Moore. Just a fine execution out of the full house backfield. There's no decision here. Cale Gundy knows with that kind of blocking, it's going to be a gimme.
Chandler starting in place of the injured Collier, who broke his arm during practice getting ready for this game. So here is the offset I formation. 1st and 10 on the 9-yard line. Hall is going to throw on 1st down. He's got Lloyd Hill, who is hit and knocked out of bounds. Big hit that time by Darius Johnson. Gain of 5 yards.
You know, Tech's come out throwing the ball so far in this game, but really they need to get Bam Morris going running-wise. And you know why they need to get him going? He starts kind of slow. Look at what he does by quarters, and he makes the point. He likes to wear down defenses and get warmed up, but he and this Tech offense need to get warmed up now.
2 tight ends in the game, and here is Morris going off the left side, and not much there. It was 2nd down and 5, and Terrell Peters, who's starting at weak side linebacker, stops Morris after a gain of 2. Morris, by the way, broke the Southwest Conference season rushing mark held by Earl Campbell, and he did it the year he won the Heisman Trophy back in 1977.
And really, he's doing it with an offensive line up front, Dick, that is not a big physical group. They're a group whose job it is to stay on the defenders, and with a 245, 250-pound back running behind them, just stay on your guy. They have to arm tackle, and you can't arm tackle Morris.
3rd down and 3, and it's a rollout. Hall has time, and the pass is caught for a 1st down. Tight end Scott Ayler got free downfield with all the outstanding wideouts. Ayler was the target, and a gain of 25 yards, and Texas Tech gets out of trouble.
And as all the action starts to the right for Texas Tech, watch quarterback come this way, watch the tight end dragging back behind. Standard play on a play action quick fake coming out to the right. You're dragging your tight end back behind is probably the 2nd or 3rd receiver on this play. And he gets perfectly positioned behind the linebackers.
1st down on the 41 of Texas Tech. They swing it out to Bam Morris as a receiver, and he gets tripped up as he tries to get close to the sticks. A loss of 1 yard when it was all said and done. Brent DeQuazy, only 211 pounds, a sophomore from Midwest City, made the fine pursuit play for Oklahoma.
And if you noticed on that last play, and you're going to see a lot of it the rest of this game from the Oklahoma defense, when Morris gets the ball, you're going to see 4 or 5 or 6 Oklahoma Sooner defenders going to him. They know they can't take this guy on one-on-one.
So Hall has 2nd and long now. And he gives to Morris. And Morris shows his disgust as Oklahoma not giving him much room to roam. A loss on that play of 1 yard, led by the nose guard Ricky Wren for Oklahoma, and David Campbell also in on the play. And there is a Texas Tech player shaken up, and maybe Jeff Wood, the right tackle.
Watch the penetration coming from the Oklahoma defense is what disrupts this play. Just the penetration breaks up the play, getting into the backfield. That and the ball is kind of signal that it's going to Morris, and you can't do that against a team that read and reacts as quickly, I believe, as Oklahoma.
That's Jeff Wood, who's a junior from San Antonio, who was a surprise this year, beating out 2 seniors for the starting right tackle position, and Ronnie Seals, number 58, will replace him. 3rd down and 12 for Texas Tech. Oklahoma leads 7-0. The ball on the Tech 39. Ball is going to run with it, and Oklahoma will bring him down, and then they'll bring up 4th down. Paul Oates, who started in place of Aubrey Beavers at linebacker, a gain of 1, and that will bring up 4th down, and Robert King will have to come in and kick it away for the Red Raiders.
The Tech offense has to start going to shorter type passing plays and maybe quick hitting trap type plays, because right now Oklahoma up front is dominating their offensive line. They need to get the quick hitting, penetrating plays.
There is Darius Johnson back deep, and Robert King kicking. Good kick by King, sending Johnson back to the 16. And a fine run in traffic by Darius Johnson. 172-pound sophomore from Terrell, Texas. Our 14-yard return. So Oklahoma with the lead and the ball when we come back to the Sun Bowl. Texas Tech plays a 4-4 defense. The ends are Byron Wright and Sean Jackson, who is a senior. Stephen Gaines is a 300-pounder, and Dusty Beavers is the nose tackle. He, too, is a senior. Zach Thomas, the middle linebacker for the Red Raiders. Anthony Armour and Sean Banks, the strong and weak side linebackers. 1st and 10 on the 31 for Oklahoma.
38! Let's go, 1 forward! 38!
Here is Gundy with a pressure, rolls out, and the pass is caught by James Allen. And James Allen gets close to midfield as he gets down the field. Dwayne Bryant, the free safety, making the tackle for Tech. A gain of 16 for Allen.
I really think Allen sort of runs beyond his years. He reminds me the way he kind of has that glide, hesitation, and quiver, much like a pretty good running back from Oklahoma from the 70s by the name of Joe Washington. He's got that high knee kind of gliding style, and if you can get him matched up against a linebacker anytime, it's a mismatch.
And a first down on the Oklahoma 47-yard line, and the give now is to Allen, who's going to lose some yardage. So James Allen is part of the lightning and thunder combination of the freshman running backs for Oklahoma. Got stopped there for no gain. Byron Wright making the tackle. Let's take a look at the secondary now for Texas Tech. Cat Adams and Verone McKinley, who's starting in place of the injured Sean Hurd. And the safeties are Marcus Coleman. He's the rover, or is what they call the Raider at Lubbock. Dwayne Bryant, the free safety, who made the last play. Second down and 10 at the 47. Tyrone Brooks replaces Gaines at defensive tackle for Texas Tech. Gundy looking to throw and nowhere to go. Zach Thomas put him down, but I have a hunch that Texas Tech secondary did a pretty fine job downfield and a loss of 2 yards.
The pocket broke down that time for Cale Gundy, but it was no fault of Harry Stamps Jr., the big right tackle. That's a textbook job right there, working against Byron Wright. There's the big guy right there. He's listed at 290, a young 292, a sophomore. This is going to be a big lineman who's got a great future ahead of him.
Third down and 11. Gundy can't get away. And Sean Jackson, among others, in there. And let's see if we have a penalty marker. We do. We might have a face mask call after Cale Gundy was dropped for a 6-yard loss. Here's our referee, Astor Sizemore. And it is a face mask call. All of the officials today from the Southeastern Conference, including Astor Cat Sizemore, the referee.
Brady right here. That's where Gundy wants to go. But also watch the penetration by the rush of Texas Tech. He's got time. The time's just gone away right now.
A costly penalty for Texas Tech. They would have had Oklahoma punting after that sack. It's a first down on the 40. So once again, the Sooners are in Texas Tech territory. The option play, James Allen off the right side gets close to the first down. A 9-yard pickup, and it was Sean Banks and Anthony Armour, the outside linebackers, making the tackle.
Cale Gundy's known as a passing quarterback, but watch him milk this option on this play, holding the ball till the very last second before he flicks it out to Allen. And here's where the Tech defense doesn't want Allen. You don't want a back with Allen's kind of moves and jiggles out in the wide open territory. He'll make people miss.
Leading rusher on the team, and the give is to Dwayne Chandler. He breaks a tackle, gets a first down, and rambles to about the 10-yard line. So Chandler, who scored the Oklahoma touchdown in the first minute and 40 seconds, picks up 20 more yards here, and it takes Dwayne Bryant, the redshirt junior from Los Angeles, to bring him down, and Oklahoma threatens again.
Not much doubt as to where they want to go right now running this football. They want to come off the right side. They want to get behind Stamps. They want to get behind Overton, and they want to give it to the fullback. Texas Tech has to take this fullback away in this option offense, or Allen won't be a factor.
Chandler, by the way, led Oklahoma with touchdowns this year as James Allen gets the carry, and the hole closes up in a hurry, a gain of 2 yards. Zach Thomas, who is the leading tackler, the middle linebacker for Tech, on the play.
This will tell you a little bit of something of how much Gary Gibbs has gone away from the old days of the Switzer wishbone, wishbone, wishbone again. If you have to pass, what the heck, it makes the stats look good. But for all the passing that Cale Gundy's doing, this is a team that beats you with the run.
They send Hall and Warren to the right, and here is a jump pass caught by Ricky Brady for the touchdown. Ricky Brady, who went into the game as the leading receiver for Oklahoma, had the big height advantage, 6'4", over the 5'8" Cat Adams, and made the reception for the touchdown to give Gary Gibbs and the Sooners a 13-0 lead.
And Dick, the point we made early, that the running game would set up the plate for Cale Gundy in this offense. They've run successfully, and when you run successfully, you get a defense worried about the run, and you go to the play action, you go to the tight end.
Brady's third touchdown catch of the year. Scott Blanton makes good on the extra point. And Oklahoma has taken a 14-0 lead over Texas Tech. And we're back here at the Sun Bowl in El Paso. Oklahoma leading 14-0, and Scott Blanton will kick off for the third time, and we still have 7 minutes remaining in this first quarter.
And really, Van Morris in this Tech offense with Robert Hall at the quarterback position have got to start getting first downs. Sure, you'd love to drive down and get a score. They need some confidence. Start building the confidence with some quick first downs, use that short passing game.
Patrick McHenry and Matt DeBuck back deep for Texas Tech. Oklahoma, when they won their previous meeting at the start of last season, also struck early against Texas Tech en route to the 34-9 victory. And a kick goes into the end zone again, and it's going to be down by Patrick McHenry. So Tech will take over from the 20.
Two big plays in the drive, the face mask penalty and this option run right here. Watch the right side of the Oklahoma line and what Overton and Stamps do to the left side of the defense. Stamps comes down and just stones the linebacker, Banks, number 46. Banks tries to come back and make the tackle, but you know that's set up really by some great run blocking, and if Oklahoma can continue to run like this, Tech is in some serious trouble.
They have to start moving the ball and start making a statement in their own right, Randy. First down, here's Bam Morris, and again he gets bammed by the Oklahoma defense led by Brent DeQuazy. So far they're just too much for the Texas Tech offensive line, and no gain that time for Byron Bam Morris, a junior from Cooper.
You know, I was sitting next to Spike Dykes yesterday at the luncheon, and one thing I noticed immediately, and he noticed too, was how big the size differential was between his players and the Oklahoma players. It was pretty amazing. The offensive line, especially of Tech, is more of a finesse group.
Second down and 10, and the pass is caught. And that's Byron Baker who got hit as he caught the ball. Darius Johnson putting on the hit and a gain of 5 yards for Baker, who should see a lot of action today at wide receiver.
Well, Baker's been a big play type wide receiver, especially against the University of Texas, but really Hall has got to start getting the ball down in the numbers of these receivers and stop putting them up in the air like that, because that is just going to lead to more big hits by the defensive backs of the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma, 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. Texas Tech has only 1 first down to show for their first 2 possessions. Here's a swing pass caught by Darrell Mitchell, and he is hit by Darius Johnson, who's doing a terrific job in the Oklahoma secondary, and a gain of 4 yards. So they're going to be short of the first down.
Well, early on today, Dick, you know, there's a music group called Boys II Men, and right now it's boys and men, because when there's contact going on, it's the men hitting the boys, and Tech has got to step to the plate on offense.
The best cover man for Oklahoma, Johnson. He's going to be back deep as Robert King with a kick, and Oklahoma's going to let it drop, and then Johnson decides otherwise and is decked immediately at the 30-yard line. That was D. Foster on the play for Texas Tech after a 44-yard punt. Well, coming your way Sunday, it all begins with the NFL today at 12:30. The Lions and the Bears in a big NFC Central battle. New Orleans at Philadelphia, Atlanta at Cincinnati. Giants play at Phoenix. Washington at Dallas in their traditional game. Randy, you'll be there. Tampa Bay plays at Denver as part of the CBS NFL doubleheader coming up Sunday. Oklahoma again with the ball, their 3rd possession of the game, starting from their 31-yard line, leading 14-0. And here is the pitch back and the flea flicker. Gundy trying to get out of danger and will be hit, and a big loss back to the 20-yard line. An 11-yard loss that time as the pitch back did not work for Oklahoma.
And just a wonderful job right up here. Watch these 5 bodies and watch how much the Tech defense does not bite. They're not buying this. It's a run. Great job in a zone defense of hanging back, not giving Gundy anywhere to go, nothing to do, and a good penetration job by the guys up front.
Gerald Moore, the Thunder version of the Lightning and Thunder freshman backs. It'll be 2nd down and 21. Gundy's pass is caught and now dropped, and they rule it incomplete. It was Ricky Brady who caught that 9-yard touchdown pass for the second score, who did not have possession, and Dwayne Bryant put a crunching hit on the tight end Brady.
Well, just as we made the comments about the big hits coming from the Oklahoma Sooners, Brady is the recipient of what you would refer to as a fairly manly blow. Here it comes. He's up. He's ready. He does not have full possession of the ball. He's still trying to bring it in before that hit's made, but that is a hit.
Texas Tech, Randy's going to have to force turnovers because their level of play has not been up to what Oklahoma is, and if they want to equalize the game, they're going to have to cause turnovers. 3rd and 21. Gundy has time, and his pass is caught by P.J. Mills, and now let's see if they rule it incomplete. It is a caught pass by Mills. And now let's see if they rule it incomplete. It is an incomplete pass. So no catch for P.J. Mills, who did not start today's game, along with Aubrey Beavers. They faced internal team disciplinary action because of an altercation in a nightclub. Here is Mills getting a chance here.
Right down, foot down, came down out of bounds. So that was a nice call, but it was a little help on the sideline doing it on Texas Tech's side. They were more than willing to give the official a hand.
Scott Blanton will punt the ball, and Tech could get good field position. Matt DeBuck goes way back and calls for the fair catch. Redshirt freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. DeBuck hasn't yet had a chance to get loose today, but Tech will have a good field position for the first time in the game.
When you talk about the turnaround of Texas Tech with their start, take a look at this. 1-5, 5-0. But you mentioned the turnovers, Dick, and plus 12 in their 5-0 run. And so far, that is the spot of their defense. You've got to say, guys, here's where you have to make the impact. When Oklahoma gets the ball, you got to start stripping it, and you got to give your offense a little help right now, because as we stand here, the Oklahoma defense up front is dominating Spike Dykes' offensive line.
Ricky Brady had the wind knocked out of him, and the Oklahoma tight end is all right. And Jeff Wood had a twisted ankle. And
have an illegal block in the back by the return team, be 10-yard penalty. First down.
So a penalty against Texas Tech. So it looked as if they might have good field position, but they will be called for an illegal block, and it'll set them back to the 21.
Oh, the heck of a deal there with our referees. We got thunder, lightning, and static.
Well, before his mic wasn't working, so
that's right.
We'll take anything. There you see the difference in the starting field position. A big advantage for Oklahoma, and the Sooners are up 14-0 with 4:12 remaining in the first quarter. Dick Stockton, Randy Cross, and Pat O'Brien here in El Paso. On first down from the 21, and Robert Hall could not find a receiver, and Terrell Peters, just a freshman from Norman, Oklahoma, who's starting at weak side linebacker, with Mario Freeman injured, and a loss of 5 yards for Texas Tech.
And that's a play there where maybe it's a positive if your quarterback throws it away for a no gainer, but Hall chooses to look and then sort of peel it and eat it, because there's nobody open downfield. There's a good job by the Oklahoma defense of staying with the receivers.
Like a tangerine, huh? Peel it and eat it. 2nd and 15, and Bam Morris runs right into Aubrey Beavers. Beavers known for his terrific pass rushing ability, and a gain of 6 yards as Bam bams into Beavers.
Watch Aubrey Beavers right here, 56, as he takes on this play. And here's a matchup. That tells you something about the strength of Bam Morris and how he can do it going against a big guy like Aubrey Beavers. I mean, Beavers is 232 pounds, and he's going backwards the whole way.
It'll be 3rd down and 9 at the 22-yard line. Robert Hall has some time, and his toss is complete to Daryl Mitchell. And Mitchell is out of bounds, and that should be enough for a first down for Texas Tech, only their 2nd of the game. William Schenkel, the senior cornerback, making the tackle, and a gain of 12 for Mitchell.
And it's sort of the nature of the offense, the bam and shoot, if you will, to to hesitate, but it's an offense that can score quickly and get yards in huge chunks.
Mitchell this year played in the shadow of Lloyd Hill. He scored 6 touchdowns for Tech. 1st and 10 on the 34. Rolling out his ball and his pass. Let's see what they rule it. It is a caught pass. Darrell Mitchell, I believe, right on the near sideline with a whole host of Texas Tech players blocking. And close to 10 yards, and it is a first down.
And as much help as the Texas Tech gave the official on that catch to call Oklahoma out of bounds, I'm sure he got a little input there, but that was easy. 2 feet inbounds on that one.
Here is Gundy on the sideline, ready to go to work the next time the Sooners have the ball, but Tech has it on their 45-yard line and a first down. And the give to Bam Morris. He gets a hole for the first time today. And Bam Morris makes good use of the opening up the middle and gets 11 yards on the play. Johnson and Bush in the secondary making the tackle for Oklahoma.
Watch the left side up here of the offensive line move everything this way. Bam Morris, coming from his deep possession, reads it. And he's running downhill here. And what do you think the odds are of getting a one-armed or a one-on-one, one guy tackling a 245, 250-pound halfback when he's running downhill?
So Texas Tech with Bam Morris running for the first time in Oklahoma territory, and the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Tony Miller, the wide receiver on the far side, covered by John Anderson. Texas Tech has played in 8 previous Sun Bowl games, now the John Hancock, and they won only one. That was back in 1952 when they beat Pacific. So they're looking for their 2nd win here at El Paso.
And this is by far their most successful possession offensively. Good consistency, and actually a very nice job so far by Hall at quarterback. He hasn't thrown any high balls to the receivers. He's zipping them in.
2nd down and 10. And the give is to Bam Morris. Nothing there. Tell you one thing about Texas Tech's offense, which they explained to us yesterday, they don't waste much time when they get to the line of scrimmage before they snap the ball.
I think a lot of coaches out there really adhere to the, run that clock down as far as you can. Let's take time off the clock. Well, Spike Dykes and his offense really don't hold to that. They want to get back. They want to get their play. They want to get to the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if they can't wait to run the play they're running or they can't wait to run the next one.
Maybe a little of both. It'll be 3rd and 10 on the Sooner 44. Pressure on Hall, and the pass reaching a little too much. And the pass intended for Lloyd Hill, just a little bit too far to him, and Darius Johnson was the closest defender, and that'll bring up 4th down again.
Well, it's set up for the Tech offense. Oklahoma blitzes from the outside. Hall gets good protection, but just throws this one a little wide for Hill. And remember, Hill is hurting. Doesn't have the acceleration, doesn't have the pop he normally would. He did have that arthroscopic surgery on the knee.
Robert King with the kick, and Darius Johnson back deep. And the kick will go out of bounds, but it's a good play for Texas Tech. And the ball is dead at about the 16-yard line. So Texas Tech had their best offensive showing, as you pointed out. Let's see what they do defensively. So let's take a little closer look and push back a little bit and see Texas Tech, located in Lubbock, Texas, about 400 miles from here. 6-5 record this season.
We saw the enrollment, 24,187. I can buy that at Tech, but how do you keep the enrollment at 24,000?
Yeah, very tough. You hate to be the 24,000th and one. And the whistle blows. The pitch goes to Gerald Moore, and we may have a false start up front for the Sooners. Astor Sizemore, our referee. And so Oklahoma, starting from its 15-yard line, will be penalized here.
In that case, the offense or the defense of Tech has had the offense of Oklahoma do sort of their job for them. They've gone out and they've broken the rhythm. And if they can do that defensively against this offense, keep them off guard, keep them off balance, that is how they can stop this Oklahoma offense.
Brent DeQuazy being treated with a bruised shin over on the sideline. It'll be 1st and 15, the ball back to the 10-yard line. Worst starting position for the Sooners today, with 1:18 to go in the first quarter, and they give the ball to Gerald Moore. Gerald Moore, who missed 3 games with an injured ankle, and the 3rd leading rusher for Gary Gibbs' crew, picks up 7 yards. Sean Banks on the tackle.
And Moore is a much different runner from James Allen, where Allen is the skitter and dash type. Moore is a lot more physical at 230 pounds. He's a halfback that can make a living going inside.
So the Thunder, half of the freshman duo with 7 yards, 2nd down and 8, and the pitch goes to Gerald Moore again, and he is clobbered. Zach Thomas, who has really been the hardest hitter in the linebacking position for Texas Tech, knocks Moore for a loss of 2 yards.
Spike Dykes makes the point that Zach Thomas is, he could have 11 Zach Thomases on his defense as far as he's concerned. He's very, very intense. He says he's a guy that's almost too intense at times, and watch him weave his way through, avoid many blockers, none intended for him, but he managed to avoid the blockers and make the tackle.
Thomas is a sophomore from Pampa, Texas, and all of the linebackers who start the game for Texas Tech are sophomores, so they've got a bright future in Lubbock. And they're going to let the clock run down before the next play, and that'll do it in a first quarter dominated by the Sooners. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Oklahoma 14, Texas Tech nothing. And we'll return to El Paso after this message and a word from your local station. It's the start of the Dick Stockton along with Randy Cross and Pat O'Brien. Oklahoma leading Texas Tech 14-0. 3rd down and 10.
Here's a turnover opportunity for the Tech Raiders.
That's what they need to get back in the game, and the quick toss, and it's to the tight end Ricky Brady, who came back in the game after having the wind knocked out of him, and his completed pass and a gain of 6 yards. Not enough. Sean Banks and Dwayne Bryant.
Nice play by the Tech defense. Yeah, it's a completion. Yeah, it's yards. Look how close Banks gets to that ball cutting inside, trying to intercept that ball in front of Brady. They're starting to take chances. They've got to in this situation because they need the ball.
There is Matt DeBuck back deep. Scott Blanton will punt. And again, Texas Tech trailing by 2 touchdowns. Should get good field position. They looked a lot better in their last offensive series. And a great kick by Blanton, and that ball is going to go into the end zone. What a kick by Scott Blanton, who handled both place kicking and punting, and that went 78 yards for the Oklahoma junior.
Let's get it!
So it's 14-0, and Tech will not have good field position as they expected. Dwayne Chandler on the first series of the game for the Sooners scored from 2 yards out after Tech gave Oklahoma the ball on the 37-yard line, and then after a penalty on 3rd down, Ricky Brady caught a 9-yard pass from Gundy to make it 14-0. First down on the 20-yard line. This has to be a shot for Tech to start there, and the quick toss is caught, and pass caught by Darrell Mitchell, and a gain of 8 yards. Mitchell, second leading receiver for Tech this year.
And Mitchell is the receiver probably most concerning the Oklahoma defense right now. The defense knows that Lloyd Hill is banged up. Mitchell's the receiver has had more and more impact as the year has gone on, and he and Byron Baker really picked up the slack when Hill was out.
And the give up the middle of Bam Morris. He's got the first down and gets beyond the 40-yard line. So Bam Morris, who averaged nearly 6 yards a carry this year, gets 12 yards. Anthony Fogle, a nickelback, and Larry Bush makes the stop.
Nice blocking up front from the Tech offensive line, but watch this finesse runner. Nah, I don't think you call this finesse. This is why they call the man Bam.
He remind you of anyone?
He runs an awful lot like Jerome Bettis, the former Notre Dame Golden Domer.
On the option pitch to Morris off the right side. And Morris gets beyond the 45-yard line. Russell Allen, the senior left defensive end, and a gain of 3 yards. He broke Earl Campbell's record, and you can see as we get early in the second quarter, he's getting stronger as he goes on, and you see the other people he surpassed.
And he has been compared a lot, especially down here in the Southwest Conference, to Earl Campbell. That's not a bad compliment, and Campbell's one of the greatest evers, and Morris is a guy finished his season with 3 220-plus games in a row.
Second down and 7 at the 45. Paul is running out and makes the pass to Darren Mitchell. And it is a completed pass at midfield short of the first down by about 1.5 yards. Ogle covering for Oklahoma.
And the key here for the Red Raiders is where this ball goes out of bounds. It's in a situation right now where Hall throws another good pass. It's not a high one. It's not way out above the receiver's head, and it puts them in a good position play call-wise. You can play action, and with Morris, you can run it.
Third down and 2, and the pitch to Van Morris. And he's not going to get there. He is stopped short of the first down, and Paul Oates, who has replaced Brent DeQuazy at one of the outside linebacker positions, penetrated nicely.
Well, both Oates and coming from the inside, Mike Coates, do a good job. Oates does a nice job of maintaining his position on the blocker, and in from the inside comes Coates, and the outside comes...
It'll be 4th down, and Robert King kicking. Darius Johnson calls for the fair catch inside the 10-yard line. That'll raise some eyebrows. So once again, the Sooners backed up, but they lead 14-0. 14-0 Oklahoma. Changes up front. Ben Cabell now as a tackle, along with Harry Stamps Jr., who started. Broderick Roberson is now the left guard, and Jeff Ressler is the center, replacing Chuck Langston.
Normal situation for the Sooners. They play 3 guards. They play 3 tackles. Unusual for Ressler to be in there, but the reason is Chuck Langston, the regular center, came down with the flu yesterday.
First down and 10 on the 8-yard line for Oklahoma. Brian Gorka is in the game at fullback, and a rollout on the option, and Gundy goes down to the 5. And a big play by, once again, Zach Thomas, who led the team in tackles during the year and had 19 against the Baylor Bears. A loss of 2 yards.
Not only does this kid look like a linebacker, he is a linebacker. Watch that penetration, and that's just pure instinct. That's instinct and knowing your responsibilities inside your defense, but a great attacking play by Zach Thomas from his middle linebacker spot.
That's the 3rd sack of the game by Texas Tech, and the 2nd by Zach Thomas. Second down and 12 for Oklahoma. They're on the 6. Gundy in the end zone, gets the pass out to Brady, the tight end, and Gundy just missed getting sacked for a safety as he got rid of the ball and threw it out to Gundy, to the tight end, and now Gundy is shaken up outside the end zone. 4-yard gain to Brady, but Gundy is shaken up.
And we talked the last possession about Texas Tech starting to attack, starting to take chances, trying to make things happen. And here's Gundy's view. Watch that leg as he gets planted into the ground. Sean Jackson does a great job of rushing, but it was a nice job by the entire defense of not only attacking, but picking up Brady when he came out.
Oklahoma will call a timeout in concern for Cale Gundy, their senior quarterback. Terrence Brown has been their backup, and we'll be back. Following the Oklahoma timeout, Cale Gundy, who was shaken up after Sean Jackson's hit in the end zone, is all right and back. Terrence Brown, by the way, would be the backup quarterback, just a freshman for Oklahoma. 3rd down and 8. The ball is at the 10-yard line. Gundy's pass is underneath, and it's complete to James Allen, and Allen gets the Sooners out of trouble, scampers for the first down after the catch and a gain of 12 yards. Making the tackle for Texas Tech was Cat Adams, their left side cornerback.
There's just a little bit something special about this James Allen. Somehow I would find a way to consistently get the ball in this kid's hands. Off the play action fake, Gundy's looking downfield, but you see 25 standing by himself, knowing that underneath are the linebackers. Let him go against those linebackers.
Sooners out of trouble. They're on the 22-yard line. 10.5 minutes to play, second quarter. There is Allen in motion, and he comes the other way. Spins away from a defender, and James Allen, who became the first true freshman ever to start the opening game of the year at running back for Oklahoma, picks up 8 yards on the play. It was Dwayne Bryan on the stop.
Here's a quiver and a freeze. It's a quiver by Allen, And a freeze by Zach Thomas. I mean, he is so sure he's about to knock the heck out of Allen that there things go. And there's Wrestler working from that center position, blocking back. Good job.
Second down and 2. Sooners have the ball on their own 30-yard line, and the give to Brian Gorka. And Gorka may have the first down. They didn't ever expected Gorka to be playing in this game. A converted linebacker who missed the last 9 games with knee and leg injuries, forced into action because of the injury to the starter Terry Collier, and it was Damon Wickware who made the tackle. Third down and 1. They send Mills in motion. And the second back throw, and they're not going to make it. James Allen was stopped for a loss, and it was Sean Banks first, and then Zach Thomas. Thomas has been a defensive stalwart for Texas Tech today, and a loss of a yard.
Tech, that left side of the offensive line is not the strength of the Oklahoma Sooners, and Tech, led by Thomas and Bank, take advantage of that chance they had right there. Usually they go behind Harry Stamps on the right side. A great job of anticipation by both linebackers.
Speaking of taking advantage, that's what Texas Tech needs to do to get back in this game. Matt DeBuck is back, and Scott Blandon gets a high snap from center, and the kick very nearly blocked, end over end. And here is DeBuck with a penalty flag down. And DeBuck is ganged up on inside his own 40-yard line, but there was a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage after the 37-yard kick by Scott Blanton.
You had a near block, and you had a hammer on Scott Blanton. I believe it's going to be a roughing the kicker.
Marcus Coleman might have gotten in there a little bit overzealously on Blanton. And that's going to be the call, Randy.
And as big as that face mask call was in the first quarter, setting up an Oklahoma Sooner touchdown drive, so is this roughing the kicker coming from the second from the bottom. Watch this as he gets all over the leg. How he misses this ball, I do not know. Through the arms. That's roughing?
Yeah. That's a questionable call for sure. Looked like Coleman did a pretty good job escaping Scott Blandon after he didn't block the kick.
Well, let's watch it one more time, because obviously Coleman, number 12, does not catch him.
Well, the second man
he's pushed into him.
That was number 30, Jody Brown, but it wasn't Coleman, and the kick was already away. 1st and 10 for Oklahoma. They get a break. They're on their 35-yard line. And the pitch goes to Allen. And once again, that was Marcus Coleman, who obviously didn't appreciate that last call, and the Raider, who makes big plays all year for Texas Tech, holds Allen to no gain on the play.
And that was a great job coming from that Raider position, as they call it, the rover. He saw that coming, and as soon as Coleman read pitch and read option, he was in the backfield. Nice job of breaking down and doing a great job of tackling.
He was 4th in the triple jump in the Southwest Conference Track and Field Championships. Marcus Coleman, who blocked a punt against Nebraska this year. 2nd down and 10 for the Sooners. Here is Gundy's pass. It's caught by Corey Warren, who is just sitting down at midfield, and he makes the catch for a 15-yard pickup and a first down. Cat Adams was the closest to it.
Well, you know, you always hear the term in football, and especially on television, sitting down in the zone. And we're going to see a great example of sitting down in the zone right there. Marcus Coleman just barely gets there a little bit late, but fine job there by Warren of sitting in the zone.
They're going to bring it back, however, Randy. There is a penalty against Oklahoma. Preliminary call may be a face mask against the Sooners. So that'll nullify a first down and stop the Sooners from getting to midfield here with 7:27 remaining in the first half.
And that's something so far Tech hasn't seen the Sooners do too often on offense, and that's beat themselves. So for Texas Tech, they're doing a great job right now of attacking. When they sit back, they get in trouble. They've got to keep coming at them.
2nd down and 23. Wide receivers to the right for Cale Gundy. Fumble. Gundy and Wrestler miscommunications and a fumble recovered by Oklahoma. So that might have been the one thing that Texas Tech was looking for to try to force the first turnover of the game. Gundy recovered the ball himself.
The new center Wrestler, you see that so often. And Wrestler's a great story. Last year a starter at guard. This year a backup center, missing his left hand due to a childhood ailment. But that's just a pure situation where Gundy is just coming out of there way too soon, I think, for Wrestler. Wrestler's trying to fire off and block, and Gundy's taking off in the opposite direction.
There's an injured Red Raider, and Sean Jackson appears to be the player shaken up. A few moments ago, Sean Jackson put the big rush on Cale Gundy and really knocked him back into the end zone for a safety. It shook Gundy up for the moment, and now Jackson is hurt. 14-0, Oklahoma leading. That's Sean Jackson from Bowling, a senior, 256 pounds, and the defensive lineman with the most experience for Texas Tech. He's been a starter for 2.5 years. We want to remind you that on New Year's Day, CBS Sports will present the CarQuest Bowl. Boston College, conquerors of Notre Dame at South Bend this year against the tough Virginia squad. That'll come your way New Year's Day, 1:30 Eastern.
I like Foley. He is a quarterback. I mean, he just stands there the way he stands in the pocket. He looks like a quarterback, and that's a fine Boston College team that did what I think not too many people gave him credit for being able to do, and that's going into Notre Dame and rallying late and stealing one from the Irish.
I'll tell you, Tom Coughlin has an offense that Notre Dame could not stop. 3rd down and 23. Gundy is 6 for 8 so far for 81 yards. He's going to put it up again. And he's going to go deep for Warren, and the ball is thrown out of bounds. So Texas Tech holds. And the Red Raiders, trailing by 2 touchdowns, will get the ball back. Cat Adams was step for step with Corey Warren downfield all the way.
That's a nice job there by Spike Dykes and his defense of mixing things up. They got a break with that penalty from Oklahoma, but really the defense did a good job of attacking at times and then dropping back, as that last play showed, in a deep zone where Gundy really had nowhere to go, had to just throw up a jump ball.
Landon will kick. Last time he kicked, it was a 78-yarder into the end zone, preventing Tech from getting good field position. This kick is returnable for Matt DeBuck. And DeBuck goes down the sidelines. Penalty marker down. There is a flag down as DeBuck is tackled from behind at around the 10. Penalty flag down at midfield, so Texas Tech may have to hold up the celebrating momentarily. And there's also an Oklahoma player shaken up. John Anderson caught the buck from behind.
And the way that flag was thrown, Dick, you really got to think it was a block in the back or a clip. It came out of the pocket fast.
And that'll nullify a 54-yard return by Matt DeBuck.
A nice job of just attacking this return by DeBuck. You see, he did not hesitate. That is how a return man is supposed to attack a return. Don't wait for the blocks. Don't assume anything. Go and get the yardage. Unfortunately for the Red Raiders, there was a block in the back, and this is called back.
So DeBuck with a good try anyway. Colin Rosenberg, Oklahoma linebacker, is the player shaken up, and he goes off the field. So Texas Tech will have to settle for getting the ball on their own 42-yard line when Randy and I return in a moment.
On behalf of the 1993 Texas Tech Red Raiders, we want to wish y'all a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And all of us here at CBS Sports echo those sentiments, Randy.
I could sing with those guys. They sing like me. Best in the shower and in a large group.
I've heard you can keep a tune pretty well.
You know, sad.
6:08 remaining in the second quarter. Oklahoma with 2 first-quarter touchdowns. No scoring in the second quarter thus far. Best starting field position for Texas Tech. And Hall with a good fake goes deep for Darrell Mitchell, and he's got it. Big play for Texas Tech. He beat Darius Johnson downfield, and a gain of 46 yards. Darrell Mitchell, his 6th catch of the game, and he's got close to 100 yards receiving already.
Well, you saw Corey Warren in the first quarter for Oklahoma catch a very similar pass. Now watch Mitchell. Just runs down the field and gets underneath it. Hall does a good job of putting this ball up and saying, okay, you got speed, you got hands, go get it. And Mitchell goes and gets it, and this is just the late charge in this second half that Tech needed.
First down on the 11-yard line, and here is Hall being rushed, and his pass is dropped in the end zone. Scott Ayler, the tight end, was there all alone, but he could not hold on, and Texas Tech had a certain touchdown there, and that'll bring up second down.
You have to be impressed by the poise of Hall and the way he is able to throw these balls with accuracy lately on the run. I mean, he's got the waggle working. He delivers this ball right into the numbers as Ayler goes into the end zone, and Hall knows, darn it, but I've done everything I could have done on my end.
And Oklahoma's going to use its second timeout as the comeback Red Raiders of Texas Tech, who finished the season with 5 straight wins, now trying to make a comeback here in the John Hancock Bowl. They trail 14-0, 5:39 remaining, and Oklahoma calls the timeout here.
And this is a situation where I think Tech is starting to realize that as effective as Bam Morris can be, I think he's going to be more effective if the passing game of the Texas Tech Red Raiders starts to open up a little bit. And Hall has really started to come into his own, much as we talked about Morris being a slow starter and a hard finisher. Hall had sort of a slow start, and he's starting to get more and more momentum.
This is the 60th John Hancock Bowl on a beautiful day here at the Sun Bowl in El Paso. Dick Stockton, Randy Cross, and Pat O'Brien will be coming up at halftime shortly. Oklahoma leading by a score of 14-0 with 2 first-quarter touchdowns, but Texas Tech has tightened their belt a bit. They have stopped the Sooners the last times they've had the ball. They have not been able to cash in, but this may be their best opportunity as Gary Gibbs' team now calling their second timeout. Have to defend. It'll be 2nd down and 10 with Tech having the ball at the Sooner 11.
And this is the situation that in past years and early in the season, this is where the Texas Tech team would go to Lloyd Hill. This is the type of a situation with a 6'2", 6'3" receiver. You can throw a fade and let him go after it.
Mitchell in motion on 2nd down. Hall's pass up the middle, incomplete. And it was Bruce Hill, the fullback, who was the intended receiver.
And I dare you to see what the difference between the arrival of the ball and the arrival of the hit would be in this situation. Watch Bush right there. I mean, that ball, what great timing. You talk about a receiver having great timing. I think the timing is just as important for a defensive back when he's taking a shot at taking a hit like that. If he's too early, it's a penalty. If he's too late, it's a touchdown.
3rd down and 10. They spread the field, and Hall with a fade pattern overthrows Tony Miller, but there's a penalty flag down at the line of scrimmage.
It's going to be offsides on the Oklahoma defense.
And that'll be a break for Texas Tech trying to get back in the game. Texas Tech, we told you going in, has averaged 45 points a game. So far, they've been shut out against Oklahoma's outstanding defense.
But remember, Dick, this is not an offense that scores a little bit at a time. This
at the snap to be 5 yards, repeat the down.
This is an offense that gets it in big chunks and scores very quickly, as you saw that long play from Hall to Mitchell. That's a good example of what this offense can do.
So Robert Hall out of Dallas Carter, a senior, has a 3rd down and 5, and his pass, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Lloyd Hill, as you pointed out. He's the man they go to, but Darius Johnson, well aware of that, was with him all the way defensively.
Almost a highlight film type of a catch by Hill. He's in the bottom of the screen working here. Watch him stumble and fall. Is that concentration? That would have been an unbelievable catch to be able to hold on as you're falling down, and that's a good idea. Gives you a good idea what kind of receiver Hill is. He can make those kind of catches.
He led Texas Tech with 57 catches, and now John Davis, who did not miss inside 38 yards this year, will try a 22-yard field goal to put Texas Tech on the scoreboard, and the kick is good. John Davis, who is a pleasant surprise, a junior from Brandon, Mississippi, and Texas Tech is on the board, trailing Oklahoma 14-3. Oklahoma lead is cut to 14-3 over Texas Tech. And Randy, you'd have to say that since that early outburst by Oklahoma in the second quarter in particular, Texas Tech has really outplayed the Sooners.
And the keys really have been Hall settling down and throwing the ball more effectively for the Tech offense, and that Tech defense has just attacked. They've taken their chances, and they've made Cale Gundy try to beat them. And so far, at least in the second quarter, the Oklahoma offense has not been able to beat this defense.
John Davis will kick off. Gerald Moore and Darius Johnson deep for Oklahoma. 2 yards in the end zone. Gerald Moore returning for the Sooners. And he is stopped just short of the 20-yard line.
Whoa. That was some serious contact by a group of bodies. And, you know, Tech finally got some decent field position here. As you see in their last possession, they get it on the 43. So, I mean, get them a chance, and they're going to be able to move the ball. They've been very ineffective, I think, and a lot of that really had to go to the fact that physically they were beaten up front, and Hall was having a hard time throwing.
Morris has gained only 31 yards, so it's been hauled through the air for anything they've gained. But Oklahoma with Gundy at quarterback, and on the first down, Gerald Moore up the middle for 7 yards. And it was Cat Adams on the tackle. Gerald Moore, who opened this season at fullback and was switched to tailback when Jeff Frazier and Michael Thompson were injured. Had his best day against Nebraska in the last regular season game.
And at 5'10", 230, he's much more suited physically to be running inside than Allen is.
So they've got the power men in Chandler and Moore in the I formation. Second down and 3. And the give is to Moore again. And Moore carries it out for the first down. Sean Banks, the stop for Tech, and a gain of 8 yards as we wind down to clock stop actually with 4:37 to go on the first down.
Sean Banks is a linebacker. You know, you talk to him and Marcus Coleman and you say, well, which one's the bigger? And I mean, Banks is a small linebacker, 210, 212, but you see him shed the block there by Dwayne Chandler and come in to make the tackle, and he typifies the Tech defense, a smaller attacking defender.
And the pitch is to Gerald Moore going off the left side. And 3 Red Raiders converge. Texas Tech, by the way, with only 2 senior starters on defense. And they finished tied for 9th in the nation in takeaways, so they have the ability to be opportunistic. A 3-yard gain. It was Wickware and Banks on the play.
You talk about that, the youth of that defense. You know, Coleman and Banks both made the point that one of the reasons they're excited about this bowl game is to give their seniors a chance to go out as winners. It means a lot to the younger Red Raider defenders.
Saw the graphic, and it really points up how this momentum has changed, even though Oklahoma still has the 11-point lead. Second down and 7 on the 38-yard line. Gundy being chased by Brooks. And it's Tyrone Brooks, who can move pretty fast for a 265-pounder, don't you think, in a 2-yard gain.
I love to see the composure of a quarterback. If you see Brooks here, 70, coming from the right defensive tackle, he's running his head. I mean, he is flat out. Look at Gundy. I mean, sure, he can't see him, so he doesn't know he's there. But quarterbacks never lose their cool. I mean, rarely. They got to know those bodies around them, especially a body, you know, when you're 6'2", 270, it's kind of hard to miss.
So it's 3rd and 4 for Gundy and the Sooners with 3:03 remaining in the half. Gundy looking to throw. And that's Corey Warren, and he made the catch, and it'll be enough for the first down. Warren made the sticks by about 1.5 yards, a pickup of 5 yards. They needed 4, and there is the first down signal, and the clock stops as they move the chains with 2:48 remaining. Barone McKinley made the tackle.
I'm sure Corey Warren thinks it takes forever for this ball to get out there. Cale Gundy threw it sort of falling away, and the ball floated out there, but it was a nice job of position by Corey Warren. You saw where the defender had nowhere to get around him, nowhere to go.
Oklahoma has only 1 timeout left in the half. They're on their own 47. And there is a reverse. And Jawan Penny. Sort of a late developing end around to Jawan Penny, a sophomore from Tulsa. And on the play, only a gain of 4 yards. Making the tackle was Byron Wright, and Dwayne Bryant.
Sort of a play looked like standing in the middle of a dust storm. There's bodies and tumbleweeds blowing all over the place. You don't know where anybody is, and here comes Perry with the ball.
They're out of the eye now. 2nd down and 6. Gundy gets a big rush, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Brady, and they're going to call McKinley for defensive pass interference. As the ball, Brady and McKinley arrived seemingly at the same time, but a flag called against McKinley.
On the defense, be a spot foul.
Anthony Armour coming from the top of the screen with the blitz and the hit on Gundy. But here's the play. Here comes the ball. Whoa. Slow motion. That is almost simultaneous. It's a pretty ticky-tack thing.
That's what I thought. Here's a great catch by Warren. He bounces off of Cat Adams and goes in for the score. Corey Warren made the catch and slipped away from Cat Adams, and a 34-yard strike, and Oklahoma, with 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in the half, has scored again.
You had to think that physically this OU team was better than Tech coming in here, and one of the reasons you think that, when you get a break, you get an opportunity, the superior physical team takes advantage of it. Warren just shakes loose from the tackle, and it's over right now. This is 6 points for Oklahoma due to one bad tackle and really due to the penalty.
And the extra point is good by Scott Blandon. So Corey Warren, who caught 5 touchdown passes to lead the Sooners in the regular season, makes a 34-yard grab and run here, and Oklahoma has now moved out to a 21-3 lead over Texas Tech. And for Gary Gibbs, winding up his 5th season as head coach, he has had a tough time, I guess, leading Oklahoma through the tough times in recent years, but they may be on their way now.
It's a good example, Dick, of that play of, you get a big break, you get a chance to go for the throat and go down the field, and that's exactly what Gundy and the entire offense do for Oklahoma. They take that opportunity, they take their shot, and when you're tackling a physical type wide receiver like Corey Warren, I mean, he's 5'11", but he's almost 200 pounds, and the leg power he's got, you've got to wrap him up.
Oklahoma taking advantage of Cat Adams, only 5'8" on 2 of their touchdowns today, the other to the tight end, Ricky Brady. Again, we want to remind you, coming up Sunday, doubleheader action in the NFL on CBS. The Lions and the Bears are our featured attraction, both fighting for playoff berths. And in the second game of the doubleheader, the Giants are at Phoenix and Washington at Dallas. Could be setting up that Giant-Dallas finale next week, Randy.
You talk about that matchup next week, and does anybody really want to win the NFC Central? Seems like they're just going to wait until Survivor rises out of the pile.
Here is the kickoff by Blandon. McKettrick Henry returning for Texas Tech. And he brings it out to the 22-yard line. By the way, that touchdown by Oklahoma was the 15th time that they had scored following an opponent's tally this year. They didn't waste much time.
Well, they've got the tools offensively, and right now you talk about offenses. The Tech offense needs to get some fire right now out of Hall in this offense. If they can get things going with their wide receivers, remember the bam and shoot. You can save the bam for the second half. It's time to shoot.
Here's the bam. As the Red Raiders start from the 22-yard line as we wind down to 1:30 remaining in the first half. Gain of 2 yards for Morris, who has picked up just 33 yards so far in this game. The only time this year he's been held to under 100 was against Texas A&M when he gained 88 yards. 2nd down and 8 on the 24. Robert Hall's pass is caught by Lloyd Hill and out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:10 remaining. Schenkel defending after the pickup of 6 yards. Let's review the scoring of the game. Dwayne Chandler on the first possession of the game scored a 2-yard touchdown run for Oklahoma. Moments later, it was Ricky Brady on a 9-yard reception from Cale Gundy. John Davis's field goal put Texas Tech on the scoreboard, and then Corey Warren with a 34-yard pass and run. Pass to Lloyd Hill, and let's see where his forward possession is. He may have enough for the first down. Terrell Peters on the tackle.
Number 45, Terrell.
He's just past the markers.
1 minute exactly remaining in the first half, so we're seeing a lot of Lloyd Hill into the motion now.
And if you're thinking, why isn't Texas Tech going deep? I think right now Oklahoma's doing everything defensively in a too-deep zone to keep them from doing that. They'll give them the 8-10-yard passes. They don't want the big play.
First down on the 33. Darrell Mitchell caught a 46-yarder earlier. This pass out to the sideline. Texas Tech is claiming that Darius Johnson had pushed the receiver Byron Baker, and there's
a flag down. It's gonna be a late hit, Dick, on Johnson.
That's it, personal foul.
Because I mean, that ball was thrown. It was a very uncatchable ball, but watch the receiver just stop. Johnson does not stop. That ball is absolutely gone, and Byron Baker was a sitting duck. And Johnson just hit right through him, and that was an easy call. That is a personal foul.
48 seconds remain, and there you see Darius Johnson and his ability to hit this year for Oklahoma. 21-3, the Sooners lead, and Texas Tech sends out 4 wide receivers. This is the shoot and the bam and shoot. They're on their own 48. Robert Hall running, has room to run, but he'll throw, and the pass in and out of the hands of Lloyd Hill. The pass thrown right just behind him. And that'll stop the clock with 42 seconds to go.
Well, you saw that ball in the end zone that Hill couldn't quite come down with. It would have been a great catch. You're going to see Hall sort of push the envelope as far as the ability of Hill to come back and try to make another circus catch. It's a situation where the receiver has a chance, but you're down in the 10-15% margin area as far as chances of catching the ball thrown like those.
It'll be second down and 10. Once again, Hall going through the air, and the pass is caught by Baker at the 35-yard line. With 35 seconds, and the clock stops with 34. And keep in mind, Texas Tech has all 3 of their timeouts remaining. A gain of 17 yards to the sleeper on the team, Byron Baker. And now the Red Raiders call their first timeout of the first half. Oklahoma leading 21-3. Texas Tech calls its first timeout. Don't forget, Pat O'Brien will be joining us at halftime here at the Sun Bowl. That's John Davis, whose longest field goal this year was from 50 yards out. Tech would have to get to the 33. They're almost there now. And the pass is intercepted by Mike Coates. Mike Coates, the linebacker, downfield into Texas Tech territory. And out of bounds to snuff out that Tech threat. Ronnie Seals made the tackle, and a big interception by Mike Coates, his second of the year. And a flag is down as well after that 44-yard return by the senior from Oklahoma City.
Now watch 41 in the middle of your screen, and watch the job he does one-handed, knocking this ball down, reaching in and grabbing. Getting a little convoy down the sideline here, but you know, this is not the linebacker's specialty, is not running with the ball, but great job of knocking that ball down because Tech was trying to get that ball to Hill on a quick slant.
You saw the flag as he was knocked out of bounds. They picked up the flag, no penalty, and a first down for Oklahoma on the Tech 27. Gundy is hit as he lets go of the ball. So Gary Gibbs not content with a 21-3 lead. He wants more. Byron Wright put the pressure on Cale Gundy with 19 seconds remaining in the half.
And let's take a look as Wright's a little slow getting up. Nice face shot by Zach Thomas, right into Gundy's chops.
Gundy's had to take a beating today. Came in the game as the most prolific passer in Oklahoma history. It'll be second and 10 on the 27.
18 horn, 39, go.
And the run, and it down to the The 15-yard line was James Allen on a great fake by Gundy. Zach Thomas on the tackle. A gain of 12 yards with 10 seconds remaining.
You heard that quick audible there, the 18 horn, and it looked like a pass play initially, but you saw the wide receivers immediately running downfield to block. It was a nice call by Gary Gibbs and his staff.
Oklahoma has used up its last timeout of the first half. They already are in field goal range for Scott Blanton. Allen now with 3 catches for 40 yards. So instead of Texas Tech trying to narrow the gap before the end of this first half, we have Oklahoma trying to increase their lead.
And this is the part of the field we talked about the Tech defense and trying to attack and keep the Oklahoma offense on the defense. This is a situation I think the Tech defense needs to kind of zone back and don't try to take too many chances and allow a touchdown. They'll be very happy with just limiting Oklahoma to a field goal in this situation after that big turnover.
The 44-yard interception by Mike Coates, the first turnover of the game, by the way, as Texas Tech, after huddling with their defensive coaches, they'll now go on the field. Want a reminder, Oklahoma, as Pat O'Brien mentioned early, 3-0 against Southwest Conference foes, including Texas A&M. Look at that big combined score, leading here 21-3.
This is a situation you got to keep an eye on Brady, the tight end in the red zones, a big part of a passing offense.
First down on the 15-yard line. Gundy drills it, caught, touchdown, and that's the tight end Ricky Brady, and his second touchdown catch of the ball game. So Brady in this game has caught as many touchdown passes as he did in the regular season, 2.
Watch Brady come up the field, get chucked, and when he gets chucked inside, there is no one inside to pick him up. You see Cat Adams tries to make the tackle, but by the time he gets there, he's 1 yard deep into the end zone.
Scott Blanton converts, and it is now 28-3. in favor of Oklahoma. Brady's second TD catch of the game, and the second pass, actually the third touchdown pass by Cale Gundy.
It's turning into a Cale Gundy highlight reel offensively. And it's always good to see a quarterback appreciate his big guys up front.
And the Oklahoma defense doing their part as well, Randy, because they have not allowed Texas Tech to take advantage whenever the Red Raiders have had a chance to really come back and make a game of this in this first half.
Exactly. As well as Tech played in spots in the second quarter and late in the first quarter, the critical errors, the critical mistakes have been made by Tech, and most of the big plays, save for that one long bomb that was thrown to Mitchell by the Tech offense, the big plays have been made by Oklahoma.
Well, Spike Dykes, who has had a history of late season charges since he's been at Texas Tech, look at that record, 28-10-1 in the last half of seasons. Now he's going to have to narrow it to a last half of a game in this one. Oklahoma, they've had the ability to convert turnovers by the opposition into points. They've done it here today, getting a touchdown following an interception. 5 seconds remain in the first half. Blanton kicks off a low bounder, and it's going to be picked up by Metric McHenry, and he is tackled at the 30-yard line as the clock winds down. And that's the end of the first half with the score, Oklahoma 28, Texas Tech 3. Pat O'Brien will be along with the College Football Today halftime after this message and a word from your local station.
Was the fourth horn from the left down in the middle. This is the time of year that parents have their video machines going to watch their young men and women play in the bands at half times at bowls all around the country. Those are the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and they're welcome back to the Sun Bowl Stadium in El Paso, Texas.
Red Raiders versus the Oklahoma Sooners. Today's game is sponsored by John Hancock Financial Services. MasterCard, it's more than a credit card, it's smart money. Head and Shoulders and Head and Shoulders 2-in-1, and by Energizer brand batteries.
Halftime, Oklahoma leading Texas Tech 28-3. Oklahoma scored early and late in that first half. Texas Tech had the middle 20 minutes pretty much under control, but they could not score. And right now they have a big gap. They've got to come back, Randy.
They really do. You know, Bam Morris, we came into the game saying it's the bam and shoot offense. Well, right now it's pretty obvious that for Texas Tech, it's got to be the shoot offense for a while. Bam Morris may warm up late in the game normally, but he's only really had 5 plays with runs over 5 yards. The rest of them, Bam Morris has been neutralized.
And Cale Gundy has done his job. He's lived up to his billing. And Oklahoma will get the ball first in the second half. As kickoff by Davis is returned by Darius Johnson. Johnson breaks out of the pack and brings it out nicely beyond the 30-yard line. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics. Passing yardage is kind of even, but it's the rushing yardage, and OU has the edge there.
Total offense, it's really a 30-yard difference, 207 to 177, but 30-yard difference and 25 points. It really has been the physical nature of the Oklahoma football team right now that has controlled this game on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Gundy is 10 for 14, 3 touchdown passes in the first half. They start from the 32-yard line. And the give is to James Allen. Texas Tech with the 3 points makes it the fewest points that they have scored in the first half all year. Remember, they came in averaging 45 a game. 4 yards there. Beavers and Wright on the tackle.
And Tech, look for them to be much more aggressive. What that does for Tech is it makes them and their head coach Spike Dykes think turnover. For Oklahoma, if you know they're aggressive, that opens up the play-action pass.
Second down and 6 on the 35. Allen goes back deep in the eye. In motion, Corey Warren. And the pitch back to Allen. James Allen going outside. And he was able to outrace Byron Wright. And a pickup of 6 yards before Cat Adams, the cornerback, stormed in to make the play.
Very, very long delay on this play, but the play is set up by the block of Harry Stamps, the right tackle, who holds his blocks, holds his block, holds his block. Look how long this takes. Stamps is still blocking on Byron Wright, and that's why Allen is able to get the corner, because the contain is being dealt with.
Harry Stamps Jr., who has been used as a second tight end in short yardage, sophomore from Houston, Texas. Third down and 1 for Oklahoma. On the first possession of the second half, and Cale Gundy with a quarterback sneak gets the first down to the 45-yard line. Texas Tech is going to have to force turnovers. That's been the secret to Oklahoma's 3 losses this year. They've only turned the ball over 16 times. 7 of them came in 2 games.
Watch a little surge from the right side with Stamps and Conover and Brady, or Overton, I should say, the right guard. Wow. I mean, you're coming off the ball like that with Stamps and Overton. There's nobody there for 3 yards on a quarterback sneak, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist at quarterback to figure that's where I want to go if I'm sneaking is behind those guys.
On the 45-yard line, Gundy gets rid of it. It is tipped by Marcus Coleman, the Raider, on the pass intended for Albert Hall. Good play made by Coleman, as Tech still looking for their first turnover of the ballgame.
And really the reason Coleman has a chance to be even near this play, because the receiver is definitely open. Watch Gundy falling away as he throws. He's falling backwards. He's throwing off your back foot, and then he's having both feet together and not being able to tell which one's the back one. I know you might have better touch that way, but that isn't what you call classic form.
Second down and 10 on the Sooner 45, early moments of the third quarter. And on the option, Gundy pitches to James Allen, and he fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Texas Tech. That's the initial signal. Anthony Armour may have recovered the loose ball. We'll wait for the official sign. And it is Texas Tech with their first turnover of the game on the fumble by James Allen.
And that was the signature of this Tech team when their 5-0 run after starting 1-5 was, this is a defense that gets turnovers. Now this time the defense is going to be the one that recovers it, but not the one that causes it, because Gundy puts that ball right in Allen's hands. and he cannot make that catch, and Anthony Armour comes in and recovers the ball.
So big play by Armour, and now Robert Hall leads Texas Tech, and they go to Bam Morris. As you mentioned, Morris has had only 3 carries, 5 yards or more. He only gets 3 on that play, but I'm sure that Spike Dykes knows that you've got to get Morris in action to unleash the passing game.
I think what they really need to do at this situation is Bam Morris is going to be much more effective, maybe as a receiver, maybe as a decoy. They need to get the ball, and they need to get some of those Texas Tech big point, big plays.
Here's a rollout on 2nd and 7, and the pass is caught. And that's Bam Morris. So the words no sooner out of Randy Cross's mouth, and Morris goes out of receiver, makes a 13-yard catch and run with Schenkel making the tackle, and a first down for Tech.
We make a point of how scary a Bam Morris can be coming out of the backfield. Imagine being a defensive back, having to face this guy as a full head of steam as he catches a pass out of the backfield. Wise decision going for the low road against a 250-pound back.
On the Oklahoma 26, the give is to Bruce Hill. Penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. And the fullback from Fort Worth and the second leading rusher for Texas Tech. It'll be offsides against Oklahoma as Texas Tech trying to take advantage of an early OU fumble here in the 3rd quarter.
And something Tech hasn't been able to do so far today is build on something, use their momentum.
Five-yard penalty will mark the ball at the 21 of Oklahoma. Less than 3 minutes have elapsed here in the 3rd quarter.
And a great opportunity here for Hall to get those wide receivers involved in the game. I think the running backs are getting the attention of the defense at this point. Now is the time to make them think wide.
First down and 5 on the 21-yard line. And here is Bam Morris. And Morris will have the first down inside the 15-yard line going off the left side. It was Paul Oates and William Schenkel coming up from the secondary as Morris picks up 7.
Watch the running style of Bam Morris. This is pure power. There is very little deception in the running style you're going to see right here. He is just going between point A and point B, and heaven help you if you're Schenkel and you get in between point A and point B and don't have proper tackling form.
On a quick count, Morris breaks a couple of tackles, and Bam Morris showing the power that established him as the top running back in the country. The Doak Walker National Running Back Award winner, Garrison Hurst, won it last year in a gain of 8 yards on that clip.
You know, you talk about that. Talk about him getting stronger by quarter as things go on, and a significant jump in the 3rd and 4th, and he's definitely on a roll here on that last play. Just a classic power runner's play as the defensive back approaches, sticking that fist right in the defensive back's face, stiff-arming him, and he did get a great block on the outside by Mitchell to pick him up that last few yards.
Doesn't hurt to be 240 pounds, but that time he was hit by a couple of 260-pound defensive linemen. And a gain of only 1. Making the play was Peters and Coates. Coates at 230. Shuttling in the plays, Donald Marshall has been shuttling the plays in along with Byron Baker. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 5. Here is Morris. He gets the first down to about the 3. Brent DeQuazy, who was shaken up in the first half and replaced Paul Oates a couple of plays ago, makes the stop as Morris gets 3 more.
Watch something a little bit different out of this play. This is Bruce Hill. This is not a normal tight end. It's a fullback. If you're going to lead him on the outside linebacker, why not start him on the outside linebacker, let him get the block, and he maintains it long enough to get his running back a shot at a first down.
Morris has already gained 22 yards in this half, and he dives for the touchdown. So Bam Morris a factor as Texas Tech capitalizes on that Oklahoma fumble, and the Red Raiders get their first touchdown of the ball game.
Well, how do they do it? We talked about having him be the shootout of the Bam and shoot. They got him Bam, they gave him Bam, and when they needed the big one, they gave him more Bam.
Offside penalty against Oklahoma is declined as Bam Morris, who scored 22 touchdowns this year, gets his first in this game. And John Davis attempting the extra point for Texas Tech. And the kick is good, and they've got most of their fans here. Just about 6-hour drive from Lubbock, Texas. It's now 28-10 Oklahoma here in the third quarter. Well, the Texas Tech fans have something to cheer about for the first time today, and their band on a beautiful day here at the Sun Bowl Stadium, the John Hancock Bowl here on CBS. Bam Morris, who led the nation in scoring, averaging 12 points a game. That's 3 touchdowns a game. Kicking off will be John Davis, back deep, Darius Johnson and P.J. Mills. And it'll be Mills returning from the 5-yard line. He gives ground, and he's dropped at about the 18-yard line.
Watch the job on that last touchdown that was done by Patrick and Fitzgerald. Good job of collapsing on the left side, but you know, you're trying to take an order here. Who wants to get in this guy's way? The line forms to the left. Wasn't much of a line right there from the Oklahoma defense. They saw Big Bam and that 245, 50 pounds coming over the top, and it was, well, we'll get him next time.
The last 3 Hancock Bowl games have been decided by 1, 3, and 5 points. This one is an 18-point lead for Oklahoma. First down from their 19-yard line. Gundy will toss it up, and down he goes. And that's going to be a sack for Sean Jackson, the 4th quarterback sack of the game by Texas Tech. They lose 11 on that play. Big loss for Gundy.
I don't know what Spike Dykes said at halftime, but these guys are fired up coming out here in the second half. And Jackson, nothing very complicated about what he did on that play. He just clean outside speed rushed and got through. Beat a good tackle, too, in J.R. Conrad.
Second down and 21 now for Oklahoma. They give the ball to Gerald Moore. And Moore gets some of that yardage back out to about the 13-yard line. It was Dusty Beavers, the senior from Ruidoso, New Mexico, a walk-on, and the nose tackle for Tech making the play. Dusty Beavers, who is the one of 2 seniors in the front 4 for Texas Tech. Third down and 16. Long count by Gundy. They down to 5 seconds on the play clock. Gundy nearly stripped is decked, and that's Byron Wright, who can play both defensive ends, and that's 2 consecutive sacks, and that gives them now 5 in the ball game.
And the key to this play is really down the field. As the coverage was so good, Gundy had nowhere to go. Getting good pass protection almost throughout, but watch at the very end. Watch Wright go through right there. Trying to get that right hand in and trying to strip it away. Gundy does a nice job of protecting the football.
You're right, Randy. Tech is fired up here in the second half. Scott Blandon will kick from his end zone. Back to Buck. And a good high kick. DeBuck will call for the fair catch. A smart move by DeBuck because Texas Tech will get the ball in good field position on their 39-yard line. 49-yard kick. Dick Stockton, Randy Cross, and Pat O'Brien here at the Sun Bowl Stadium, the John Hancock Bowl, and this is a very big possession for Texas Tech, trailing now 28-10. They've got good field position on their 39-yard line. Robert Hall stepping back. He's going up top, and the pass is intercepted by Darius Johnson. So Tech squanders the opportunity, trying to go deep downfield, and Darius Johnson, who led the Big 8 with 5 interceptions, picks off 1 right here. Pass was intended for Darrell Mitchell.
And Hall knows he just came up short on that pass right there, because at the top of the screen you're going to see Mitchell's going to run just a straight, zap right up the field, and he wants the ball. He's running about a 55-yard pattern when the ball is really arriving. Unfortunately, it's about a 45-yard pass or 50-yard pass, coming up well short.
So each team has committed 1 turnover. First down from the 28 and a fumble. And let's see whether Oklahoma maintains possession. or Tech gets it back.
That's a Tech player with the ball. Just came out of that pile.
No official signal yet. Texas Tech. It appeared to be James Allen, but we'll see on the handoff as the ball bounced out of the chest as Gary Gibbs urges his team on.
Watch the toss as it hits Allen right into the chest and just pops out. And now it's, when you were a little kid, you yelled, "Dog pile!" Here comes the dog pile. And believe it or not, after seeing that, the Tech player, Byron Wright, comes out with the ball.
So now each team with 2 turnovers, and Oklahoma has turned it over in each of the last 2 possessions. First down on the 28 of the Sooners.
And this sets up Tech in a position they can use their run or their pass. With 28 yards to go for a touchdown, they can do anything they want offensively.
8:15 to go, third quarter, and Bam Morris. And that's a great play made by
Ricky Wren, the nose guard, Dick, just came blasting through there.
Wow.
I mean, that's quick penetration. You talk about an offense can do whatever they want. They can't do an awful lot when the nose guard is going to be 4 yards deep into the backfield like Wren was on that one.
A 3-yard loss on the play. Ricky Wren, senior from Clovis, New Mexico.
Wren's a little fired up.
A little bit. Second down and 13 following that loss. And here is Hall going to run. Hall gets inside the 20-yard line and ridden out of bounds. So Robert Hall, who had the second most rushing attempts of the year and the 3rd leading rusher for Texas Tech, picks up 12 yards on that play.
An interesting play by Texas Tech, and one that really I don't think Oklahoma was expecting. Watch, 1, 2, 3. Quarterback draw, and he sees the rush coming. DeQuazy coming on the outside. He goes underneath him. Great job down the field, getting some support from Miller and some others blocking-wise, and Hall picks up a nice gain.
There's Robert Hall. 21 touchdowns, a Texas Tech record this year, and healthy for the first time. Diving for the first down. Robert Hall. It was a 3rd and 1, and Texas Tech with 7.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter, trying to bring the Red Raiders back. They scored their first touchdown of the game, capitalizing on a turnover here in the third quarter, trying to do that again. First down on the 17 now of Oklahoma. Here's a rollout, and the pass tipped, and another interception. Another interception by Oklahoma.
That ball's going to be marked on the 1-yard line. Anderson did a nice job of just executing the tip drill there. Watch what happens as the ball is knocked up into the air. He's trying to go back over to the middle of the field after rolling right. Now watch Anderson, number 39, little tip drill. 1, 2, 3. Cradles it, and the ball will be marked on about the 1-yard line. Here's another angle. They'll give you some idea of the action, the speed, and the excellent hand-eye reactions that are utilized by Anderson to catch that ball.
Originally a walk-on, John Anderson, so it'll be 1st and 10 on the 1-yard line. Quarterback sneak for Gundy gets maybe a yard. So Robert Hall has had 3 passes intercepted in his last 4 attempts, trying to maybe bite off more than he can chew to bring Texas Tech back in this game.
Well, he's throwing that ball into a very crowded area that turned out to be a negative. But one good way for the Tech Red Raiders to turn that negative into a positive here is to hold Oklahoma, not give them a first down, and ideally hold them right around here inside the 5, so they have to punt from the back of the end zone.
Second down and 9, the ball at the 2. Each team has 2 turnovers already in this third quarter. Gundy to throw from his end zone, and the pass incomplete. Ricky Brady, the tight end, was the intended receiver as that pass sailed out of bounds. Covered on the play by Anthony Armour.
Watch exactly what Gundy's looking at as he sees check blitzes, he sees pass rushes, and he also sees he does not have a receiver open. This ball is thrown where he hopes Brady might be able to get it, but he knows no one else has got a chance.
Brady has caught 2 touchdown passes today for Oklahoma. It'll be 3rd down and 9 at the 2. And the handoff to Gerald Moore. And a flag is down. We may have a face mask as Moore is tackled close to the 1st down yardage.
I think we're going to have a hold there, Dick, and it could be going against Jeff Ressler, the backup center, number 71.
And that's what it is, holding penalty against Oklahoma.
Now watch as this play breaks out to the right. The hold will occur downfield. Watch Ressler working there against the linebacker. Just getting a little bit of too good a grab or too good of a hold of his technique with that right hand, and he's working against Banks. Banks tried to escape and caused the hold.
There, that feisty defensive line by Texas Tech has come on in this game.
Well, they really have. They've really put a stalemate into that big physical offensive line of the Sooners so far in this second half. They have gotten beaten back. They have gotten blocked, but they haven't stayed blocked, and that's been the key.
There's Brooks. Stephen Gaines, the 300-pounder, also up there. 3rd down and 8 on the 3-yard line. And Gundy's pass, incomplete. Intended for Jawan Penny. He was claiming that he was interfered with by Dwayne Bryant, but nothing doing. And now Scott Blandon is not going to have much room to get a punt off in the back of the end zone.
Like we talked about, turn a negative into a positive. Make the Sooners kick from deep in the end zone. And here you really got to admire the guts of this Oklahoma Sooners offense in this situation, just standing back there and slinging it, because a lot of bad things can happen, and this is the last thing on a bad list of things that can happen with your kicking game.
The Buck is standing already in Oklahoma territory. Not a good kick. And a fair catch called for by Marcus Coleman. So Blandon gets off his shakiest kick of the day, only 30 yards, and Texas Tech will have the ball inside the Sooners 35. It seems like this entire 3rd quarter has been played on the Oklahoma side of the field, on the left side of the field, and Bam Morris, who scored the touchdown, his first of the game, leading the big charges for Texas Tech here, and they have weapons, Randy.
They have plenty of weapons. The last thing they can afford, though, is another interception. Hall threw a ball last time where he didn't belong. A lot of attention being paid to Hill. You got to think Mitchell plays big into this drive.
Larry Starr, number 40, is in the game at fullback, and here is Starr making Bam Morris, and Morris gets to the 35-yard line and loses 2 on the play. Bring you up to date on the scoring. Oklahoma scored 2 touchdowns in the first 8 minutes of the game. Chandler with a run, Brady with a reception from Cale Gundy. Davis put Texas Tech on the scoreboard with a field goal, but then Oklahoma scored 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Morris cut it to 28-10. Here is Larry Starr on 2nd down and 12 from the Oklahoma 35-yard line. So it looks like they want to keep the ball on the ground, and after that flurry of interceptions by Robert Hall, maybe Tech wants to just run the ball and not throw.
Well, they obviously in a situation here, as you see Starr come off the field, where, you know, they want to say to Hall, if you're going to throw it, we got to throw more high percentage, less rolls, less throws, less throwbacks into the middle of a little more complicated defense.
3rd down and 10, and the pass out to Tony Miller. Incomplete. He was covered by William Shankle. So Miller, a senior, will bring up 4th down, and John Davis will come on the field. Davis's longest field goal this year was 50 yards.
It's going to be a long one. I mean, this could be as much as about a 51-yarder, which is saying something for Davis, and I think this is really a situation. Tech needs these points to not come away their 2nd time in a row getting the ball in great field position and not getting anything out of it. They got to get something here.
51-yard attempt by John Davis, who's already been successful from 22 yards. High snap, and Davis's kick is going to be off to the left and short, no good. So Davis, who did not miss inside 38 yards this year, misses from 51. And once again, Texas Tech fails to take advantage of a turnover, and it remains 28-10 Oklahoma.
This really hurts. A very high snap, a low driving kick that is going to come up well short. And this really hurts Texas Tech, but it brings a smile to the face of the head man on the sideline for the University of Oklahoma. And Gary Gibbs has to be excited. His team's done more than enough to be in trouble at the beginning of this second half, but Tech cannot take advantage.
Oklahoma's defense stopped the run. Tech was not going to pass last series. First down on the 34-yard line. Good, a bit of running by Gerald Moore, freshman from Houston, Texas. Dwayne Bryant, the free safety, on the tackle after a gain of 6 yards. Want to remind you on New Year's Day on CBS Sports, the CarQuest Bowl from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Boston College and Virginia will hook up 1:30 Eastern time. What's Virginia going to do against that great offense of BC?
Try to intercept passes more than likely, because you know Foley's putting it in the air.
Second down and 4 on the 40-yard line. Oklahoma with the lead and the ball. Here's Gerald Moore. And Moore appears to have the first down for the Sooners as the clock runs under 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
And to no one's surprise, really, where do you go when you want something? You go behind your big guys on the right side, but right there, Mr. Wright, number 94, really plays stamps to a standstill, comes off, but not before the first down's gotten by the Sooners and more.
Oklahoma on their 45. And the pitch to James Allen. And no gain on the play. That'll bring up second down. Only scoring in this third quarter was Bam Morris's 2-yard touchdown, as each team has turned the ball over twice.
And you see those quick tossing sweeps. You run those plays as an offense when you think you have a speed advantage on the edges on the defense.
Second down and 10. Tech getting ready to tee off. Gundy gets hit as he lets go of it, and the pass is caught by Corey Warren. And wants to exhibit the prize. Warren with a 20-yard pickup. McKinley on the stop. Warren with a touchdown pass today of 34 yards, including the big run.
You see Cale Gundy sort of talking to himself, giving himself a bit of a pep talk here. He sees that blitz was coming, stands in tall, and puts this ball in a spot where Warren can go after it. And what a nice job by Warren. But here's the reason Gundy was talking to himself. He got a little bit of a Jackson sandwich in the face.
First down on the 25. Gerald Moore, the ball carrier, and will lose yardage as he is driven back by a bunch of white-shirted Raiders, including Zach Thomas and Tyrone Brooks. Only a 1-yard loss after all that.
A play like that really shows you the difference between a Moore and an Allen offensively as a running back and Bam Morris. When Bam Morris goes into those piles, if there's guys there, he just sort of stops, but the pile kind of quivers and goes backwards. When the pile hits these smaller running backs, the pile stops and goes back into the offensive backfield.
Second down and 11 on the 36-yard line of Texas Tech.
Sunday 2, read up, go.
Gundy gets hit, and the pass is intercepted. And it's Marcus Coleman. He is the Raider. Intercepts Gundy. Cale Gundy this year threw only 6 interceptions and is picked off here by Marcus Coleman.
There's very few guarantees in a football game, especially one with this much time to go. But I'll guarantee you one thing. Cale Gundy felt a lot better this morning when he woke up than he's gonna tomorrow when he wakes up, because he is getting hammered. And that was a nice job by Marcus Coleman, but the protection breaks down late, and Gundy just gets hit in time coming from the backside by Jackson, and Gundy's gonna need an ice bath. The heck with an ice bag.
We have had 5 turnovers here in the third quarter. Play fake. Paul with a screen pass to Bruce Hill. And Hill is hit and down by Terrell Peters after a gain of 9 yards. 1:40 remaining in the third quarter. Texas Tech trying to climb back in a wild 5-turnover third period here.
It really is. Both defenses are starting to take those chances, bringing the heat on the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks are throwing some passes right now. They both wish they could get back. If you take a look at Marcus Coleman on the bench, that was a great job of playing receiver.
Here's Bam Morris. He gets tripped up as he crosses the 35. There's a penalty flag down. Brent DeQuazy on the stop. 7-yard gain pending the penalty. And it'll be offsides against Oklahoma, and it was DeQuazy, the outside linebacker, who had stepped offside. First down, Tech.
Sam, out backfield, cheated in. Green dog there right there. He's hitting me right there.
See, it's easy. They go in an eye, they'll toss it.
On the draw play, Bam Morris with a nifty move, and Morris brings it up to the 42-yard line. You know, what would those coaches do if they didn't have their little mini chalkboards on the sideline?
Knowing coaches, they'd find a way. They'd cut their fingers and draw on the ground in blood if they had to. And here's a running back that can draw a little blood here, a guy that can pound people. Bam Morris is not a complicated running back. The complicated part comes when you get within arm length of him.
Second down and 4. Hall trying to escape danger and dumps it off incomplete, intended for Lloyd Hill. Robert Hall, just 170 pounds, took a beating as you look at the turnover story. 5 here in the third quarter. But only Tech has been able to take advantage of the turnover, the fumble by Oklahoma, with Morris scoring their only touchdown.
And they're moving the ball here with the worst field position they've gotten off of a turnover here in the second half. They were in great position the last 2 times. Can they put together a drive?
Third down and 4. Here comes the blitz. Anderson on the blitz, up for grabs, and it's caught by Darrell Mitchell, but the official rules that he was out of bounds with 22 seconds showing on the clock here in the third quarter.
Well, that was a case of Hall really keeping his composure as he is blitzed from the top of the screen. See Anderson coming through on a safety blitz out of the slot, and Hall somehow finds a way to flip that one out and almost makes almost a great positive out of what could have been a big negative.
Robert King to kick it away for Texas Tech. Darius Johnson inside his 10 and dropped at about the 13-yard line, and a good play downfield by Sean Banks. There's a penalty flag down. You know, if it's against Texas Tech, Oklahoma will want the ball back, but it is not. It's against Oklahoma, and that'll put him in further danger.
Well, it's a little holding penalty, and that's going to put Cale Gundy in a little bit better field position than he had last time, but not a whole heck of a lot. If he's passing, he's dropping into the end zone from here.
Look at the even yardage turnovers. The only thing that's not even is the only thing that really counts in the game, and that's the board. 28-10 Oklahoma.
The yards may be even, Dick, but really the big plays that happened for the Oklahoma Sooners in the first half made the big difference. Most of the big plays here in the second half have been turnovers, and the one touchdown drive that Texas Tech was able to put together off that first turnover by the Oklahoma Sooners.
12 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Oklahoma trying to end Texas Tech's 5-game winning streak. One of the longest winning streaks, believe it or not, in the country. First down on the 7. Moore and Chandler are the I-backs. And they give it to Dwayne Chandler, and he is driven back. And it was Zach Thomas, who has played a brilliant game defensively for Texas Tech. A loss of 1 on the play, and that will take care of things here in the third quarter. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score Oklahoma 28, Texas Tech 10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the 1993 John Hancock Bowl on CBS. A terrific day we've had weather-wise here, and a great crowd on hand. Texas Tech trying to come from behind and trying to make things happen here as Oklahoma has the ball on their own 5-yard line, 2nd and long.
This is a very hospitable city here in El Paso, and this is a very inhospitable part of the territory for the Oklahoma offense. This is blitz territory here.
First play of the 4th quarter. And it's going to be a play-action pass. Gundy gets it out of danger, and the pass is incomplete. Albert Hall was the intended receiver, and once again, Dwayne Bryant, a junior from Los Angeles, broke up the play.
Watch the play-action fake here by Gundy. This is classic 2nd and 12. Great play action, great time of the game to do it. Great territory. Defenses are attacking. He puts the ball really where it has to be, but it's a good combination of an attempted catch by Albert Hall and a nice defensive play by Dwayne Bennett.
So it'll be 3rd down and 11. The key to Tech's turnaround this year was their defense trying to make it happen here. And the swing pass out of the backfield, and the pass to Dwayne Chandler, the fullback, who started in place of Terry Collier, who was out with a broken arm, and a gain of 9 yards. Good block up front by Harry Stamps Jr., the right tackle.
That was a nice job, a good call by Gary Gibbs and his staff. It was a low-risk type of play, and when he got the big guys on the right side, Stamps and Overton out on that screen, he had a shot at it, almost did get the first down.
Well, once again, Scott Blandon will have to kick from the end zone or the shadows of his end zone, and there is Matt DeBuck, who will be back deep for Texas Tech. Tech was coming after him, and Blandon gets off another beauty. DeBuck bobbles the ball, and he's not going anywhere. Red shirts all over the place, so when Blandon has needed the big kick, he has gotten it. 78 yards earlier and 57 yards here. Mike Kagan making the play. So this is going to be the final chances, Randy, for Texas Tech to come back in this game, trailing 28-10 as you see the shadows enveloping Sun Bowl Stadium. Oklahoma trying to finish at 9-3, and Texas Tech trying to continue on with their 5-game winning streak.
And you know, Dick, as much of a factor as Bam Morris was in the few initial drives here in the second half, and they really were effective with Bam Morris. You're down by 18, you've got 14 minutes to go. I think they have to put the ball in Hall's hands and let him go with it.
And the give is to Morris, and he is set back. Bam Morris, who had 33 yards rushing at halftime, now has 65 yards in the game on 22 carries after being stopped for no gain by Cedric Jones and Mike Coates.
We talked about how he gets going and kind of warms up later, and definitely warmed up in the 3rd quarter. I think if you want to get Bam Morris 100 yards, this is the way to do it. But if you want to win the game, I think you got to throw it, and play action would be great with him.
2nd down and 10. Robert Hall fires incomplete, and he was set to be sacked by Paul Oates, who put the big rush on, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 10 for the Red Raiders.
I think you've got a situation here with Hall is he's getting a little bit frustrated with this Oklahoma defense. They're doing a good job of covering his first, his second, his third receiver downfield, and a last-minute kind of desperation pass just comes up at the feet of his receiver. But, you know, the line needs to give this quarterback a little bit more protection because he seems a little flustered.
3rd down and 10. Pass is caught by Baker, and it's going to be short of a first down by nearly 5 yards. Making the tackle was Mike Coates and Darius Johnson, and so it's 4th down, and Robert King will come in to punt for Texas Tech. Darius Johnson will go back deep. He's been all over the field today with hard hits, returning kicks, and also with 1 interception. A beauty by Robert King. Johnson back at the 15 and really showed some good speed. He's pretty solid at 172 pounds. 17-yard return in the tackle by Brad Spinks. Early in the 4th quarter, Oklahoma. They've got the ball when we come back. And Zach Thomas has delivered today defensively for Texas Tech. He has been all over the field, and now Oklahoma with the ball. First down on the 33-yard line. 28-10 in favor of OU. Cale Gundy with 3 touchdown passes.
39 Bravo, 58.
And here is a reverse to P.J. Mills. And Zach Thomas, he had his cheerleaders were looking for him, and Cale Gundy was trying to block. It kind of collapsed. Loss of 3 yards, and Marcus Coleman making the tackle on the play. Gundy engineering the Oklahoma offense, running and passing. 3 touchdown passes. Bam Morris has rushed for 65 yards. A wild third quarter in which there were 5 turnovers, and the total yardage dead even.
I think the story right here has got to be Oklahoma doing things a little more conservatively, running the ball, little play action, but not doing something to get them beat.
2nd and 13, and the pass is caught by Jawan Penny, sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a 17-yard catch. Cat Adams on the play, and a first down.
A completely different quarterback to watch in person is Gundy. You watch him on tapes, he looks one way. Seeing him in person, he has got a real good gun. This is a guy that when he sees it, he throws the ball to it and it gets there in a hurry. He's got a real rope.
He was a baseball player for Oklahoma and pitched him into the College World Series. First down on the 47-yard line.
13, 39.
And the pitch and another fumble by Allen, and it looks like Sean Jackson has recovered. No, it is still Oklahoma ball.
It rolled right back into Allen's hands. Now that is a lucky play. I don't know what the coordination problem is right now between Allen and Gundy, but they should get together and figure this out, because we've had a couple of bounces not only off the chest, the face mask, the shoulders, but watch as Allen comes in motion from the right wing. That ball just bounced right off his chest, and luckily for the Sooners, rolled right back into his arms.
He lost a fumble the same way in the third quarter. So it'll be 2nd down and 14 for Oklahoma. They're in the shadows here at Sun Bowl Stadium. Gundy's pass, and a fine catch by P.J. Mills. Percy James Mills, sophomore from Enid, and a 16-yard gain. Once again, Cat Adams on the tackle. He's the fastest receiver for Gary Gibbs.
And nice catch by Mills. You've seen Hill have a hard time for Tech making these tough behind-you type catches, but look at the way those hands just came right back, and he just snapped it. Looked like he had flypaper on those hands.
Gundy now has thrown for 210 yards. There you're looking at P.J. Mills, 5'11", 172 pounds. First down on the Tech 41-yard line, and the swing pass goes out to Dwayne Chandler. Chandler for 5 yards, and the tackle is made by Anthony Armour with help from Byron Wright.
And there's Gundy chasing Gundy in between a Sir and a Dickey, but Mike Gundy still currently the quarterback coach at Oklahoma State, and Cale's big brother, but Gundy's putting on quite an exhibition here. Just when I thought they're going to get conservative, they put the ball in Gundy's hand and let him start gunning it.
Mike Gundy played in this game back in 1989. Inside handoff to Dwayne Chandler, who scored the first touchdown of the game and leads Oklahoma running backs with 11 touchdowns rushing this year. Making the tackles, Sean Banks and Marcus Coleman, after a pickup of 3.
And the renaissance here in Oklahoma, a lot of the credit I think has to go to Watson Brown there, the offensive coordinator that's really brought this thing along with Gary Gibbs. Here's a real good offensive mind, highly respected in the college ranks, and this is an offense that people have always thought, oh, boring and running, and there's very little right now boring about the Oklahoma offense.
Well, they seem to be going more to the option now, aren't they?
Really, they are. With that kind of talent at halfback, I think they have to.
Third down and 2 on the 32-yard line of Texas Tech, and the give is to Gerald Moore, and Moore slides away, gets a first down, still in bounds, and dives, touchdown Oklahoma on a brilliant run by freshman Gerald Moore.
What better to illustrate the great talent they have at halfback and the great reason to do that option like you mentioned, Dick, than let's flip it out and see if the other young guy can do it. You got a little thunder, you got a little lightning,
And both Thunder and Lightning at one time or the other today have really hurt the Red Raiders on defense. Just arm tackling. Banks comes in and cannot wrap him up, and now it's just instincts. Getting some good blocking downfield from Juwan Perry, but basically it's more getting into the end zone.
And Scott Blandon with the exclamation point, and it is now 35-10 as Gerald Moore goes 32 yards for the Oklahoma TD.
Hey, Joey!
And the 60th John Hancock Bowl, formerly called the Sun Bowl, and here at El Paso, Oklahoma has opened up a 35-10 lead. Oklahoma victorious over Houston in their one previous game here in 1981, winning 40-14. Now they've opened up a 25-point lead with 9:34 remaining in the fourth quarter. Scott Blandon kicking off. McHenry and DeBuck are back, and it's brought back by DeBuck. And piled on at about the 22-yard line.
We talked about at the beginning of the game that, you know, for all the skill people they had, the man that would sort of gauge the entire offensive success or failure would be Robert Hall, and Hall has had a bit of a tough day. He started out throwing a little bit high, and I think the Oklahoma defense has got to be responsible to a real good degree to the kind of game that Robert Hall has had in his last game here as the Red Raiders quarterback.
First down at the 22. Hall trying to avoid the rush, and his pass is tipped and intercepted. Terrell Peters, a penalty marker, is down after the interception, and there's a flag after Peters intercepts the pass, and that would be, if it stays, the fourth interception of the game by Albert Hall. Robert Hall, that is, playing his last game in a Texas Tech uniform.
And these are the type of turnovers that drive quarterbacks and coaches crazy. Because Hall does a nice job of evading the rush, throws this ball up, and it's just a matter of, well, which way is this ball going to go once Hill hits it off his hands? Sometimes it goes down, and when things aren't going well, it goes up and hangs up long enough for Peters to get it.
Freshman from Norman, Oklahoma, starting at weak side linebacker. With the injury to Mario Freeman, Mike Coates starting at strong side. So Oklahoma has the ball back. First down on the Texas Tech 48-yard line. Nearly tripping as he goes back. Gundy is going up top, and the pass nearly caught by Corey Warren, and he was covered on the play by Donnie Brooks and Dwayne Bryant. They threw into double coverage, but Warren very nearly grabbed it away.
I don't know. Remember, we told you earlier that Oklahoma is going to establish a bit of a series with Texas Tech coming back and forth, and throwing deep at 35-10, going for the bombs is not going to create much goodwill between Norman and Lubbock.
Hardly. 9 minutes, 10 seconds to go.
Actually, that's Gundy, not Hardly.
It's been Hardly, Hall, and a lot of Gundy today. 2nd and 10 on the 48-yard line. They put Mills wide to the right.
6, 39, go.
And the pitch to Gerald Moore. He cuts back the other way, and it doesn't fool the Texas Tech defense. Wickware with good pressure, and Marcus Coleman eventually on the tackle and a loss of 1.
There's the big guy, Harry Stamps Jr. we talked about in the game he had, enjoying himself now on the sideline.
You can smile, laugh, and joke around when you're leading 35-10 with 8:40 remaining in a ball game, and going on to Oklahoma to win their first bowl game since their last appearance 3 years ago at the Gator Bowl. 3rd down and 11. Gundy on the run, going deep, and a flag is down. Albert Hall was the intended receiver, and it was Donnie Brooks who will be called for the interference. So once again, Gary Gibbs hungry for more despite the 25-point lead, Randy.
Merry Christmas, season's greetings, and ho, ho, ho to all of you Red Raider fans from Gary Gibbs. Just
going down the field like that is, I don't know. You know, there's something to be said for there's no such thing as running up the score. Last time I checked, the defense is supposed to stop them from running up the score. But in a game like this where Oklahoma does have the physical and I think athletic dominant position, it's a little suspect as to why you're throwing it down the field.
I can see if they want to get some support from the polls. For
they want to break into the top 15 for their 19th.
It's getting colder here as the shadows virtually covering the entire field. 1st and 10 on the 34-yard line. Give to Dwayne Chandler. And a couple of years. Gary Gibbs has been at Oklahoma. He played there. He coached there. Defensive coordinator in '81 and was a linebacker, winding up his 5th season.
He went to Oklahoma when Nixon was president and hasn't left. I mean, I got to tell you a little bit of something. It's like, you've been there forever? We talked to him the other day. It seems like you've been there forever. He goes, well, it's been since 70, 72, right about there, so it only seems like it.
Sooners were 5-4-1 last year and improving to 9-3 if they win this game, and they're on their way. 2nd down and 8. Dwayne Chandler, the intended receiver. Oklahoma with 2 ties last year and only 1 game over the 500 mark. 2 years ago, they had a 9-3 record, which will be their final log this season.
And with everything that's happened at Oklahoma with the probation and everything else, I thought Gundy put it best to us the other day, Dick, when he said, gee, when I got here, it was still sort of the Barry Switzer guys. You saw these great big linemen, these great big defensive guys, and the talent drops when you're on probation, and I really think Gary Gibbs has got this Sooner program back up on the rise and going in the right direction.
Lights have been on here at Sun Bowl Stadium. 3rd down and 8 at the 32. And Gundy slipped and fell. But you're right, and I think Oklahoma now is setting their sights on a possible national championship with 2 outstanding recruiting classes and coming back from what really had been a nightmare year with all the probation several seasons ago in Norman.
And a season where really Gary Gibbs and his Sooner team played extremely well outside of the Big 8, but finishing 4th in the Big 8 behind Nebraska, Kansas State, and Colorado was a big disappointment in Norman this year because the way they started, especially in their 2nd game beating Texas A&M, I thought a lot more was expected of this team.
They won their first 5 games, lost to Colorado, then Kansas State 2 games later before losing to Nebraska, a game they really should have won in their eyes. Here is Blandon with the kick. The buck is back and goes out of bounds, and they'll mark it at about the 7 or 8 yard line. 6:44 remaining in the 4th quarter. Oklahoma in control. Yes. A lot going on tonight. On 1st down, and the pass out to Roger Korn, who is the backup tight end. Senior playing his last game from Coleman, Texas, and a game of 14 yards. Well, Randy, you were on at halftime with Pat O'Brien, and I know that you and just about everyone in the world thinks there should be a playoff, and we're going to talk more about the bowl situation. Handoff to Bam Morris. Morris with a good gain of 17 yards and another 1st down to the 40-yard line for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I see no reason they can talk about that bowl coalition. I see absolutely no reason they can't have a playoff system. They do it in 1AA. I think they're student athletes. They do it in college basketball. Last time I checked, they had to go to school too, so I don't buy some of those excuses.
Pass is caught by Korn, and he goes out of bounds. By the way, that 17-yard run by Bam Morris was his longest run from scrimmage today. This catch to Korn goes for 6 yards, and the clock stops with 6:03 remaining. What about Notre Dame's claim that if Florida State beats Nebraska, Notre Dame, if they win, should be the #1 team? That's been an ongoing issue in college football.
A lot of people are surprised they dropped as far as they did after they lost to Boston College, Dick, but the bottom line is they did drop as far as they did, and until you have a playoff, you have no way to prove the authenticity of your arguments.
Robert Hall, rolling right, gains 9 yards. Johnson on the tackle. Of course, you got to go back to 1989. That's what Lou Holtz is claiming when the Irish beat Miami in the regular year and then lost after the season was over. Before the season was over, Miami finished ahead of Notre Dame. So there has been precedent for Notre Dame to lose a game and then come back and win. But it's a lot more complicated now.
Lots more. Plus, you really get the perception that from the media standpoint, from a lot of fan standpoint, they would love to give Bobby Bowden a national championship, and it's set up for him right now.
A lot of sentiment there.
With the kids jingle belling and everyone.
Welcome back to the 1993 John Hancock Bowl, and there is the championship trophy that is headed for the mantle of the Oklahoma Sooners in Norman, who lead 35-10, 5:41 remaining in the game. 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line of Oklahoma for Texas Tech. Bam Morris, who broke Earl Campbell's single-season record in the Southwest Conference, gets 2 yards. Mike Coates, who has an interception today for Oklahoma, makes the stop.
And with this constant running inside with Bam Morris, some has been successful, some has not. You really have to credit the Oklahoma defense, the job the defensive backfield have done. When the Red Raiders have brought play-action passes, they have not bitten on the play-action pass. With Morris back there, they have every reason to.
And Robert Hall calls a timeout. It'll be the first timeout of the second half for Texas Tech, with 5:06 remaining. Of course, it's always a treat for us to come to El Paso for the John Hancock Bowl. And of course, the man who's really the heart blood of the John Hancock Bowl is Jimmy Rogers. He is the selection committee board of director. He has been the main man here in El Paso for the Sun Carnival Committee, and Jimmy Rogers has been honored with a scholarship fund set up by the John Hancock Financial Services. It's a $50,000 endowment at UTEP for the underprivileged students, and it couldn't be named for a greater guy than Jimmy Rogers. And that trophy that goes to the winner here at the John Hancock Bowl is named after Jimmy Rogers.
Yeah, this is the first-class setup here in El Paso. Jimmy Rogers is a high-class individual, and there probably isn't a community, really, I think, in the country that gets behind and more excited about their bowl game than here in El Paso. For a week or two of every year, this is El Paso.
Well, yesterday when you were delivering the main address at the luncheon, you kind of amplified what everyone seems to have said over the years. It's fun to come to El Paso and this bowl game. 2nd down and 8. Hall's pass, and that's caught by Donald Marshall for a 5-yard pickup with under 5 minutes remaining. Well, this would only be the second John Hancock Bowl in the last decade to be decided by more than 5 points. So it has been more the exception than the rule to have a big margin of victory in this game.
Don't forget about the importance a game like this has, Dick, from the recruiting standpoint. Oklahoma can now claim to recruits all over the state of Texas. They were undefeated against Texas teams. They won the mythical Texas State Championship, as they say, and it can come into play a lot of times in the living rooms all across the state of Texas when Gary Gibbs and his recruiters and assistant coaches are out there trying to get that top-flight Texas talent. And when OU is big, OU has a lot of Texas athletes.
Gary Gibbs said yesterday, he says, we just want to separate the fun from the game, and I think he's done a great job there. Oklahoma had fun, and they're also coming away with the game. 1st down on the 35 for Hall. Pass is short, intended for Byron Baker, and defending on the play was Rod Henderson. So while Hall has struggled today with 4 interceptions, Bam Morris, who came in, has 87 yards and scored a touchdown. The lowest yardage for Morris this year was 88 against Texas A&M in the only game that he was held under 100.
And he made the point this week to the media that if he thinks he's going to be a #1 draft choice, he is going to leave Texas Tech. He'll sit down next week with Coach Dykes and his parents down in Dallas and make that decision. But, you know, Dick, we're around the NFL a little bit, and I think you see a running back 6'1", 245 pounds. He's a sharp young man. I think he's really heading in the right direction. He gained 1,752 yards this year. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say he's going to be a first-round draft choice, and I'm going to say he's going to be a former Red Raider, I think, come next season. He's going to make a fine addition to the pro game, I think.
Well, you said earlier, everyone compares him to Earl Campbell in what Campbell did in college, but we have seen a lot of Jerome Bettis this year, and at 240 pounds, he has the ability to make defenders hurt and punish defenders in the secondary.
He doesn't have the speed of a Bettis, but look, he's got the power.
And there you get a little bit, just a glimpse of his ability to bounce off defenders. He lost on that play. He needed only a yard. 2-yard loss on the play, so he still is under at 100 yards rushing for the day.
And very, very obvious at this point, that is exactly what Spike Dykes and this offense is trying to do, is they're trying to get Bam Morris that 100 yards and let him get that and go out with a bang for Bam.
Why not? And Bam, 4th down, goes to the sideline, and Texas Tech will go for it.
I'll tell Bam something right here, though. You can't dress like that in the NFL. It's going to cost him a lot of money to wear short jerseys and long towels.
And the pass is incomplete on 4th down, and Oklahoma will take over on downs. So Oklahoma will remain undefeated with their 4th win in as many starts against Southwest Conference foes. They beat TCU, Texas A&M, Texas by healthy scores and leading 35-10. Yes, Texas State champions for Oklahoma, and they can wear those T-shirts proudly now.
And there's a lot of seniors in high school that are playing college football or high school football in the state of Texas that will be reminded time after time by Oklahoma who has the upper hand over Texas college football.
New quarterback for the Sooners is Terrence Brown. And on the option play, Brown with good speed. Brown inside the 40-yard line. And the freshman from Fort Bend, Texas, in the first play, runs 33 yards. Finally brought down by Metric McHenry, and Cale Gundy gets a breather, and Terrence Brown shows what he can do.
And unlike a long bomb down the field, that is not what I consider running it up. That's more of the category, you know, I'm just going to try to run it. I'm going to run options. And the deal is between coaches, if you promise you won't try to stop me, I'll promise I won't try to score.
Like the old-fashioned Oklahoma wishbone quarterbacks. And a first down on the 40-yard line. Give us to Gerald Moore. And we have under 2 minutes remaining in the game. Well, the 1993 John Hancock Bowl was produced by Craig Silver and directed by Mike Arnold. The coordinating producer of the College Football Today halftime is Eric Mann, and the halftime was produced by Roy Hamilton. The associate producers were Peter J. Macheska and John Gerstel, and the broadcast associates were Ken Mack, Magdal Abe, and Jim Bruska. The senior producer of CBS Sports is Ed Gorin, and the executive in charge of production is Rick Gentile. And there is the elusive Terrence Brown, who's inside the 10-yard line for another first down. 20-yard pickup for Brown, and a long day for Robert Hall.
There's Team Gundy on the sideline. The only Gundy that's missing there from the male standpoint is brother Mike, and you won't see a Oklahoma State coach on the Oklahoma sideline.
First and goal on the 7, and the pitch to Gerald Moore, and he is knocked out of bounds as we get close to a minute left. While we have a moment, I want to thank Marty Aronoff and Dave Corris for their exemplary work up here in the booth as the 60th John Hancock Bowl winds down, and a smile on the face of Gary Gibbs.
I know. We need to make it 26 and 27. I was trying to hold on to it, man, but I just couldn't. I kept seeing the ball.
Second and goal on the 3-yard line. Oklahoma will go 9-3. And close to the goal line is Terrence Brown. He is not over. Accepting congratulations is Cale Gundy, who has played his last game. Senior from Midwest City, the most prolific passer in Oklahoma history, and a tremendous year and career for him.
Now here's one of your situations of how to make friends and influence people. You have the ball down about the half-foot line. The clock is obviously running, obviously going to run out. Do you fall on it, or do you just put a little rub in on Texas Tech?
Quarterback sneak, and no signal from the official.
That's a flag.
Penalty flag is down, as Brown did not get over the goal line. Texas Tech will see its 5-game winning streak go by the boards and end up the year at 6-6. Penalty against the Sooners with 25 seconds remaining. Oklahoma struck early in this game with 2 quick touchdowns. And then Texas Tech kind of dominated the middle 20 minutes after the first 8 minutes of the game, but could not manage to score. And then the Sooners struck again right before the end of the half to take a 28-3 lead into the second half. It'll be 3rd down and goal on the 6-yard line. Here's Gerald Moore, touchdown. So the Sooners get yet another score as time runs down, and Gary Gibbs' Oklahoma Sooners rolling it up. So 41-10 is the final score as Oklahoma wins the John Hancock Bowl. So for Randy Cross and Pat O'Brien, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long from El Paso. The final score, Oklahoma 41, Texas Tech 10. Be sure to join CBS this Sunday for doubleheader NFL action. It all gets underway at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. It's all you need to know. The Sooners had it on both sides of the ball today, and they win the John Hancock Bowl. And you've been watching the 1993 John Hancock Bowl here on CBS. Merry Christmas and season's greetings, everybody.